ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, from all over the world, hello, welcome back to another episode of The Watch With Me. Your host, Jean-Luc, let's make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We're back, we're here, and we're 2 days away from the biggest fight of the year, at least it's of the year. T.O. versus Shakur Stevenson, and now the full-blown prediction is primed and ready for your viewing and listening pleasure. I'm going to give you everything I got from the standpoint of my ultimate thoughts and opinions, the finality of my feelings of whether or not we're going to see Shakur Stevenson pull off what would be considered the biggest win of his young but flourishing career, or will we see Teofimo Lopez do what he's done for the third time in a row and beat a prime all-world top 10 level talent in the world of boxing on a technical level, and show everybody that he is indeed not just a takeover, but he is taking over as the perennial biggest talent of his second generation amongst the people that he came in with at 135. Always a whole bunch of stuff to offer and conversate about, so I can't wait to talk about it with you all. And if you haven't tuned in before, hey, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Jean-Luc. Go ahead if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube, on every podcast and platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we're there. Also, be sure to go ahead and leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, and please keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together, all with you and your support. We can make it possible. We can make it grand and make it bigger, better, and stronger of a community, all with you helping to be along for the ride. And quick disclaimer, if you want to help us support the channel and you like what you're hearing, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below the description, as well as Super Chats, Super Gifts, and all that stuff. If you can support the show, would mean the world to me to help us be able to grow bigger, better, and stronger, and invest into the show, and also pay some bills in the process, absolutely. But with all that being said, we got an action-packed show to cover. We got a whole bunch of stuff beyond T.O. and Shakur that we also got to dive into, and we got predictions to make. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to work, it's time to shine, it's time to make this show the best that we can be, and it is time to step into the ring. Come on, ring the bell, let's get it started. Round 1 of the show going underway as we got the biggest, the best, the most grandiose of events. And it's Shakur versus T.O. We are finally in the waning moments of a monumental occasion between two of the biggest pound per pound stars that we got in the world on a technical level and on the star power level. And who's gonna win? Well, it's gonna have my prediction, and we're gonna see what you all gotta say in the chat while I give you all my thoughts and opinions on this. Also, Love King, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here on the show with us today. And be sure to sit back and enjoy, because we got a long show. Well, not a long show. We got a very dense, packed show. And what y'all are here for, and what I've been holding out on, has been making my prediction for this fight fully as to who I think's going to win. I'm going to give you the breakdown. I'm going to give you what's at stake for each fighter. I'm going to give you how each can win. I'm going to give you who I think's going to pull this out in the end. And I want to hear your reactions, your thoughts, your conversations, and your full-blown red-blooded opinions on how you feel this fight is going to go. Whether you agree or disagree with what I got to say or anything, we want to hear from you absolutely on our airways. And please get people involved so they know exactly what's going on. But this has been a fight that everybody has been on pins and needles for. Something that is almost, I think it's sold out now fully for the stadium in Madison Square Garden. New York is a buzz. The public is invested. Everybody's looking every which way to figure out who's got the upper hand on a very close affair. Mind you, this is as much of a 50-50 fight as you can make from an on-paper perspective. When we look at this thing, from the technical ability to the size, the pedigree that both of them have had, the heights and the potential that we have seen each of them, be able to not just attain, but has yet to be fulfilled, that is still within their grasp, and they're both still walking into the primes of their career. There's a lot of I can't even say animosity, because I'm not saying, because they ain't been, guns blazing, hate with each other. But it's been a very much deep respect laden into somebody's gonna be shown to be a fraud come the end of the night. That's at least the feeling I'm getting a little bit. The one thing that Tio and Shakur are both trying to do is show that whatever you say about my opponent, I promise you, when compared to me, it ain't real. If you think he can box, sure he can box. But if you thought his boxing ability was comparable to me, you sadly mistaken on each side of the spectrum. So as we've gotten into the week, it's been a whole bunch of the notions and feelings, the atmosphere surrounding this fight has amped up a little bit more to, okay, we talking, we jawing, we going back and forth, and now, okay, we starting to lock in a little bit. We getting serious now. It's time for me to change and flip the mindset of what I'm going to be inside the ring. Ain't no friends, ain't no cordial interactions. It's straight up, I got to do what I got to do, because I got mouths to feed on both sides of the aisle. So I'm telling you, this is an exciting fight. It's an incredible fight, and I can't wait to see how this is going to go, but I'm going to give you my predictions on this right here, right now. Let me make this quick change. Real quick, trying to see if I can get this this chat going about, so we can actually set something, a little bit of an incentive for the public eye. But even still, we just want to see you sit back and relax and enjoy the whole breakdown. So with all that being said, hey, also Just Do Boxing, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy that you're here with us on today. Appreciate you being along for the ride. And now, let's break it down, shall we? Come on, here we go. Shakur versus Tio. What's at stake for each fighter? First and foremost, well, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, he said it himself, his career, to some degree, is in the balance of this fight. Now, it sounds like a lofty goal, but this is coming from the man himself. He feels that he can't afford to lose this fight and to have this bout go not in his favor. We have also covered the fact that when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, when it comes to Teofimo Lopez, Tio is in the same situation. They were saying with other fighters, he gets 2 or 3 losses on his resume. Now, people are going to start looking at him in a very different light. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to let him say it for himself as I play the clip in the old picture-in-picture as we transition over into the world, very briskly into the world of Teofimo Lopez's mindset of why this fight is indeed so important for the takeover, who's looking to take back over in New York City. Let me play the clip right here, right now, for you all to witness and enjoy.
See, the thing is that I look at it, I don't want to elongate this whole thing, but he's still the WBC champion at lightweight division. So I'm just going to bring him back down. That's all it is. But he doesn't lose anything. He loses to me, okay, that's one thing, but he still has his safety net. You know what I mean? That's a WBC world title. Mm-hmm. He's still world champion. So it's not like...
I don't know why. Pause, hold on.
Like it's a lose-lose for him. You know, it's more like we tried and we win no matter what. Mm-hmm. For Teofimo, my end is different, far different.
I feel there's more at stake for you in that sense in this fight.
My career is at stake.
And so again, he feels this is a real dilemma. And you also gotta understand, look at the deeper meaning as to why he would say something like that. Though you may see it as it might be a little bit more that's a little bit aggressive in some people's mind. One, that's the mentality you have to have going into this type of big time affair. Again, we'll talk about the stakes of the fight before we delve into the full-blown prediction. Again, I told you on Tuesday, full-blown breakdown of what I'm gonna have for who I think's gonna win and everything I do when I break down the fight. We're doing that today. But he says that because Tio understands, especially after the criticizing performances of Jermaine Ortiz, of Sandor Martin, and with the loss to Kambosos, though again, I believe it's only 1 loss on his resume, we're looking at a fighter who everybody has a whole bunch of rhetoric surrounding the negative aspects of Teofimo Lopez and where he can ascend to after if in fact this goes awry. we talk about the legacy of where Lomachenko's been looked at now. Some people say he was an incredible fighter. Absolutely. And he was an incredible fighter. Some of the best footwork we've ever seen. Incredible artist of a savant when it comes to the ins and outs of boxing. However, the three losses the loss that he has on his resume really stifled where ultimately, to some degree, the respect that some people have for the likes of Lomachenko, and others would have 2 losses or 3 losses. The cachet, the marketability, as we talk about, the overall respect of a fighter from the standpoint of, oh no, not you, you're a fighter, we respect you absolutely, but from how we view you goes a whole lot differently. That takeover moniker ain't gonna be able to be applied in Teofimo Lopez's mind. So he has to take this as, wait a minute, I can't afford not just to lose. Because I do not just lose, but I can't afford to have anything go wrong because of the fact of what can come down the line after this fight with me for coming back towards the limelight of stardom can be a long road that I may, with how life goes and how boxing goes, you may never get back to it. So he's got to look at this as this is it for him. And this is one of the most potent, prevalent, dangerous, and all-around impactful fights that he's had in his entire career. That's the truth, and that's why it feels as such. And so there's a lot at stake for him. He can also, not just does he lose his belts, not just does he lose his lineal titles, you have to also understand some bigger fights and some trajectories where he may be looking to, like with 147, hypothetically a big-time match with Devin Haney down the line that can do massive numbers and massive cachet as he looks to potentially elevate his competition or go for undisputed. All that can be dashed and having to start doing from scratch. He doesn't want that, understandable. That's what's at stake for Teofimo Lopez. For Shakur, it's a whole other situation. And we had Timothy Bradley also said this as well. We were looking and saying, remembering Timothy Bradley was saying, if you look at how the loss in the Olympics messed up Shakur Stevenson from an emotional standpoint, if he loses against Teo, this could be that times 10. Not just because of the fan base, but because of the even bigger elevated spotlight. Mind you, one of the biggest things, not that Shakur doesn't want to fight people. He doesn't duck smoke. We're not saying that. What we're saying is the same instance and the same kind of driving mentality that made it so that Floyd couldn't handle defeat. And he gotta win. The same thing that we see with Tank Davis, where he was saying, my pride can't let me lose. If I lose, I'm done. Because I can't take the ridicule. I can't take being clowned. I can't take having that type of feeling happen to me ever. I've seen what I've done to others and what's happened to the reputation of others that I've put on a poster. I can't take that loss on myself. He said that himself. With Shakur, he's experienced defeat in the same way that Floyd Mayweather has. And he's experienced the pain, the hurt, the distraught nature specifically of a robbery that when he was robbed at the Olympics. Now he's saying, he's gone on record saying, hey man, if you can beat me now, you're a bad brother because I can't afford to lose. I'd rather die than lose. I got to make sure that I'm on everything I can be to ensure that I am never experiencing this type of pain again. But if he does, as much as we questioned the mental fortitude of somebody like a Tank Davis, we have to also draw a little bit of that same concern to Shakur Stevens. Not because we're saying he's weak, but because we know that type of ridicule that will come his way, especially with somebody who undefeated to some degree, is the thing that he wraps himself up in. There's still a little bit of Floyd Mayweather there. It's going to be when that O goes, if that O goes, rather, it can, oh boy, what would that do to the psyche, to the ability, and to the mindset of Shakur Stevenson, let alone what he loses out on opportunities for? He wins. He said there's 2 outs to go to. One of them in which he said he would go and fight he might entertain some fights up at 140, maybe go at the undisputed. Hypothetically, he's got some big names up there, but more specifically, what he verbatim said and where Matt Skellerman quoted, he could go back down to 135. And if you don't believe me, I'll even play the clip right now from Matt Skellerman talking to Dalton Smith in regards to if we do see Teofimo Lopez lose. And if we see Shakur win, that could be the next fight that we see for Shakur to get more gold around his waist. Now let Max Kellerman explain that whole dichotomy real quick, if it'll play.
Teo, but then if Shakur beats Teo, but then vacates and goes back down to lightweight, and he said that's what he would do if he wins, the junior welterweight Ring Magazine Championship would be vacant.
And again, now granted, I just want to play that quick clip because he quoting Max Kellerman saying the same thing I said, where Teo could go back down and relinquish the belts, and it could go to Dalton Smith. Now, Max Kellerman says Dalton Smith can fight against Richardson Hitchens, number 1 versus number 2, take the belt, unify with his titles, and then become one of the leading candidates for not just becoming undisputed, but arguably elevate into top 2 at 140. Again, depending on who wins and who stays between Teo and Shakur at 140 afterwards. So it's like, it would make sense. But in regards to which, that's what's at stake. You come down to 135. And if it comes down to 135, well, now you got big fights with Abdullah Mason. Oh, wait a minute now. You got a fight with one of the bigger, currently the youngest champion in boxing right now, going head-to-head against him in what looks like a clash of monumental styles and excellence versus athletic ability and strength, but also a refined, highly advanced skill set in Abdullah Mason. It would be interesting to see how that fight will go, but that's what's on the docket, as well as pound for pound. Don't forget, if we see Shakur win against Teo, well, we got a chance to have him up in taking Teofimo's spot as number 8 in the world on most people's rankings in the pound for pound, as well as we can have him elevate higher. Potentially go to 7, 6, crack that top 5, depending on the dominance of performance that we see above Teofimo Lopez. Again, if he wins, we could also see the likes of I would argue, not even argue, if he beats Teo, I think he's above Devin Haney. I do believe he's above, even with the win that Devin Haney had against Brian Newman Jr. If Shakur beats Teo, he's above Devin Haney in the rankings. I got Devin Haney in the bottom, was it 7? Is it a 7, 8, or 9? I think I have him at 9. I'll have to look back. But either way, he'll be above Devin Haney and be closer, in my opinion, to the top 5 moniker of the boxing ethos in all of combat sports, which is something I'm very excited to see transpire if it does. But that's the stakes for what's with the fight. Now, let's delve into how each of them can win if they pull it out. And I'm going to be completely honest, it's as close as it can be, and it's almost a battle of polar opposites, as well as a battle of the mirrors in some degree, because both fighters are incredible technical aficionados. They really are. Both fighters, in a boxing sense, are so phenomenal. Oh, wait, before I continue, I almost forgot. If Teo wins, he goes up to, I forgot to say the pound rankings for both if each win. For Shakur, he goes above Devin Haney, cracks that top 6 to potentially top 5, depending on how the dominant performance is. Teofimo Lopez, he's already on the pound for pound. He elevates up to that same threshold. Could get an even bigger argument for potentially top 4 because of the already established resume of Lomachenko, of Josh Taylor, now with Shakur on the same docket of wins, with him also again taking a belt, or rather retaining his belt against this type of opponent. We could have an argument where, okay, we might have to look at this guy as, should we consider him a top 4 fighter in the world? Either way, it's going to be exciting to see. No question about it. And also, we got a bunch of people chatting. So before I get into before we transition into the straight up breakdown of how each can win the fight, let me read your reactions real quick to the show thus far. Just Do Boxing with muscles up and saying, hey, 100%, we're happy that you're here, and we are happy that you're here as well. Ryan Graves, how you doing as well? Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're here as well. I got to tell you about UD. Should be pretty straightforward, but I can also see Shakur winning by a split decision. It could be viable. Like I said, stick around. I'm about to give my prediction fully of what's going to happen. Al Booker, good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Absolutely appreciate you and your time. Because there's so much going through. Let me see, Designer, what's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in. so glad that you're witnessing us on today. We appreciate your time, your effort, your energy. And let me see, T.O. needs to be top 3 and not 3 after he wins. Again, that's a conversation. I think he ekes into the conversation of top 4. If you should, depending on how he wins, eke into the conversation of top 4 if he gets this done. It's it's intriguing. Very intriguing, and it's something, again, we're going to discuss. But as we discuss that still, let me break down the fight of how he's going. We're looking at Shakur Stevenson, first and foremost, with how Shakur can win this fight. Shakur, as a boxer, people say it's straightforward, and it kind of is the truth. We're looking at somebody like Shakur Stevenson. His forte, again, defense, distance, and make sure that you can't go and touch him. Box Teofimo out and frustrate him. That's the biggest game plan possible. Make it so that Shakur Stevenson not just able to keep his distance and control of the fight, but force Teofimo Lopez to to access the worst part of his game, which is frustration and over anticipation. Cause Shakur to get anxious because stuff ain't going his way and make him make his own mistakes. That's going to be the most straightforward way to win. What does that entail? You go through and you box blindly like you've been doing the entire time. Nullify that eccentric offense that Teofimo Lopez can throw. If you're going to be judicial and responsible with your output, and again, you ain't going to be able, you're going to try to make this a truly technical affair. If it's a slow fight, it's the best fight for Shakur Stevenson. That's the truth. If it's a slow fight, it's the best fight. If it's a boring affair, that leads into the mind and to the ability of Shakur Stevenson, because at that point in time, he is making it so that not just his CEO not comfortable, but he's not landing. Everything feels like a very much a stop-start type of stop and start type of affair, because every time Tio tries to do something, he gets turned around or he gets backed away and gets caught with a jab to the body or to the head, keeping safe, maybe sometimes throwing that straight left of his in terms of Shakur Stevenson, and keeping safe again, looking to counter when Tio tries to take chances. If he can do that consistently, which again, he has one of the highest punch percentages from the standpoint of landed shots whenever he does throw, along with the lowest output and with the best defensive statistics in the game, it's going to take you being able to never let this fight not just get out of your control, but never let T.O. feel like he can get out of gear 1 when fighting against you. That's what you're going to have to do. Most specifically, if you are able to win those 50-50 exchanges or even bait them out and have T.O. think something's coming and it ain't, make him miss and then make him pay afterwards, you got an opportunity. You nullify that aspect of his game. And especially if you can actually keep to your word when you said you got power, you got pop, you got some real, people don't think I can punch, let them think I can punch. If that's truly how you see yourself from the standpoint of physical presence and ability, well, you show that in this fight. All of a sudden, that gives T.O. not just or another thing to think about, but a bigger incentive that maybe I can't be as reckless as I want to. Well, not reckless, as chance-driven as I would want to be when the opportunity obliges for itself, and it nullifies to some degree a game, or rather a game plan, that Tio may want to implement to be able to get the oohs and ahs from the crowd, the oohs and ahs from the judges, getting some stuff sliding into his favor. You make him second guess to some degree, make him respect what's coming his way. Now you got a means to stifle as well as to control. That's your most straightforward way to win. Can't get caught with big shots because we don't want to see that chin tested. You can't get drawn into a fight where you yourself are not in full control from round 1 through 6. I'ma be real. If it's a close affair between those first 6 rounds, going into round 7, that second half of the fight, and Tio starts to feel like he's in control, and he starts turning Shakur into the aggressor, that may be the worst thing for Shakur Stevenson. That we said that multiple times, and it's true. It is true. Yeah, we can consider that the southpaw may be an advantage against Teofimo Lopez, but it also maybe not. But even still, what is the crux of all this is, essentially Shakur can't lose that stability and control. He can't. Because this is not De Los Santos, who can't cut off the ring, who can't adapt, who doesn't have the patience as well as the ability to go and corner and consistently be in front of his opponent and not let the footwork of Shakur completely nullify anything that he can do offensively. That's what happened with De Los Santos. That's not going to happen with Tio. We got to see how Shakur can handle having a threat as athletic, well, not even as, more athletic and more dangerous than the likes of De Los Santos, that will not be able just to be nullified simply by I'm quicker than you. Yes, he had hands injured, but I can win this fight off of just my jab and running away. When he's going to box, and he's going to have to box. We know he's going to box against Tio. It's going to be a boxing affair. But if he loses control, where it don't feel like that he's got his stranglehold on this fight, similar to what we saw with Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., it could be a long night. It could be a really long night, but that's how I think he can win. And if he does that, we could see I dare say we could see a unanimous decision for Shakur Stevenson. If it's fully in his favor, in the way that I can see him box, counter, be able to go and keep Tio at distance, nullify the straights that Tio would want to throw, and be able to counter him enough to where it is well and good. Okay, yeah, he's got the better of it and he ain't getting caught with bigger stuff. Round by round by round, add that to the pile of your corner. Yeah, we can see a unanimous decision. Split or unanimous decision, depending on how the judges are feeling on the night. That's the way that he could. That's the best way that I can see Shakur winning. Now moving on to Teofimo Lopez for what he could do to win this fight. If I'm going to be completely honest, hold on, we got some more people in the chat real quick before I go to Shakur, before I go to Teofimo Lopez. I mean, Shakur needs to stay off the ropes, not leave his jab out there, have his defense after, and have defense after and while punching, because if he trades with Tio and he doesn't get his head off the line, he's going to get hurt. That's the biggest issue, though. He's got to be sure that his defense, if it's as airtight as we've been saying it is over the course of years, this is the fight to prove it. This is the biggest test of whether that defensive impregnability is actually a reality at this type of offensive elite level. Not saying he hasn't fought against good opponents before. Yes, he beat Oscar Valdez. Yes, he beat Jamal Herring. Yes, he beat Yoshino. Yes, he's beaten countless fighters before. We're not discrediting them. We're saying now, this is a different ballgame. That defense is going to be pushed to a level that, yeah, you're going to be mentally and physically put to the brink, hypothetically. So you got to be on it. Let me see. Shakur also needs to really slow the fight down. Yep, absolutely. Because if he can't, it's going to get real bad, especially since he's never been at 140. Now, whether or not he can handle 140 is a whole different question. We can see Shakur Stevenson have the capacity to be at 140 just fine. I even saw there was a clip. Let me see if I can find it. There was a clip about Shakur Stevenson saying that when him as a boxer, walk around weight when it comes to Shakur Stevenson as a fighter, as a boxer, is something that is more closer to 154, 147, rather than the likes of just 135, 140. And I believe it was his trainer that was saying, yeah, Shakur, but the buddy walks around at about 140 to, 148 to 154, something around those numbers. And so, like, he can definitely make 140 and be just fine. And if you haven't seen what he looks like now at 140, he looks mighty comfortable. He looks like he's prepared. It looks like the weight won't be a big detraction going up against him, or going up against his ability to do, or rather to be comfortable and to still have everything that he had in his arsenal. I'll let you see right now as you go to picture in picture. You can see right here from the video. Hey, look at like you take a look for yourself. This is what he's looking like at 140. I don't know if they probably have music playing, so I don't want to get copyright stricken. But you can see what it looks like at 140. You can see the physique. The flushed out, filled out. It looks comfortable. Similar to what we saw when we were talking about Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Crawford at 168. He looked mighty comfortable. The weight fit him just fine. It wasn't an issue. I don't think 140 is an issue. I've been saying for years that he is a bigger guy than what people think he is at 135. It is easy, in my opinion, for him to make 147. Now, dealing with what comes at 140 is a little bit different. But making 140, I think, especially from these videos and these pictures, he's going to make the weight just fine. And I think he's well and good comfortable. So I'm not worried about that in the same regard as others may be. But it is going to be a test nonetheless of whether or not he can take the power coming back against him. And it is this athletic ability, or rather this athletic elevation of opposition, that also draws some level of concern. But again, if he's going to win, I can see it by split or unanimous decision, depending on how the judges are scoring it. But let me see. I don't know if I said salute to you, Super Saiyan. But yo, Super Saiyan, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today on this very exciting prediction and preview show and breakdown fully of my thoughts on T.O. versus Shakur Stevenson. We about to delve into T.O. Preveiw Lopez and how he can win, and then afterwards, ultimately, give my thoughts as to who I think is going to win outright. I'm just reading you some of your chats so we can make sure y'all we get your voices heard. Then afterwards, we jumping into T.O., then we jumping into my final predictions, and then we jumping into everything else in the boxing and sports world as a whole. Let me see. Jose Martinez, also, how you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate you joining in on the hottest show in all the globe, The Watchable, with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in for our endeavor. I got Shakur by a close unanimous decision, maybe 8-4, 7-5. A lot of people think it's going to be a tight-knit affair. And again, if the fight is slow, it's good to go when it comes to Shakur Stevenson. That's the best moniker. If you think the fight is boring, you're probably going to say Shakur is winning. If you think the fight is boring, you're probably going to say Shakur is winning, because there's nothing exciting coming from the barometer. Or rather, not barometer, because that's more so gauging the temperature of how Teal's feeling in the fight. There's nothing exciting coming from the corner and from the body language and from the output of Preveiw Lopez. If this fight don't get to a point where you're saying ooh and ah, yeah, it could be I dare say it could get you a straight up wider margin of victory, arguably. But it's gonna rely on those first 6 rounds. I'm gonna say that confidently. That this outcome of this fight for Shakur, it's gonna come within those first 6 rounds on whether or not he can fully gain control, or if it's too close for comfort, round 7 and on could get very sketchy. It could get very sketchy. Let me see. His gas tank might not translate, but we'll see fight. Now, it might. I've never had concern about his gas tank per se, but we're going to find out and see how everything takes up. But even still, let's jump into Preveiw Lopez now. Come on. Let's switch gears a little bit. How can T.O. win this fight when looking at T.O.'s perspective? Well, we talked about one thing. Hey, one hitter quitter, get a knockout, and just put Shakur Stevenson on his butt. Boom, fight's over. He can get it done. Hey, wouldn't that be just surprising and incredible if that did take place? Hypothetically, again, we're talking about hypotheticals of what is likely to happen. While it's the most unlikely scenario, we can say it is the most likely out of each 2 boxers. If somebody was just gonna land something that puts somebody to sleep, especially coming up to 1/3, coming up to his weight class, it would be Teofimo Lopez landing on the proverbial smaller man in Shakur Stevenson. Hey, all of a sudden that power and that threat, and he's able to punch through that defense. Next thing you know, we got a reigning champion. We got a pound for pound great on our hands. All that stuff can go his way, absolutely. But on the flip side, while that's the least likely scenario, it is a scenario that can occur in a potential likelihood for Teo. But beyond that, if he's going to win this fight, there's two things he's got to do. Number one, he's got to make it so that he does not let his offense go stale against Shakur Stevens. We're not saying that he's predictable, but what we are saying is that it is implorable on the mind of Teofimo Lopez. He cannot get to a point where his offense is rendered completely null and void by the distance management of Shakur Stevenson. He's got to be able to make it so that Shakur doesn't have that barrier of infinity like he always does against every single opponent, where he's right in front of you, but you can't touch him. You got the speed to be able to get to him. You got the explosiveness to be able to go and react and close that gap and keep up with the movement of Shakur Stevenson, which isn't necessarily lateral, it's more so vertical, forwards and backwards. And you got the length to reach him. You got the length to reach him, unlike what we've seen with other fighters in Shakur's dossier of opponents. As I'm quickly drinking, having a drink, Teo has the length and reach to be able to get to Shakur Stevenson. Battle in those same jabbing exchanges. Hypothetically, if we're going to be completely honest, win some of those outboxing situations. Don't just win the mid-range battle, which we know Teo can land. Again, part of that 50-50 exchange within that mid-range area, he thrives on, he lives on. On the inside, he can become a really good volume puncher, leagues above the levels of Williams Zepeda. We understand that completely with power to boot. But when looking at the outside, he's got to be able to make it so that Shakur isn't just able to say, yep, you here and I'm here. And guess what? There ain't nothing you can do to stifle or break this line of demarcation. You can't get the best. You do that, you got yourself a fight. Hey now, you make it so. You make it so. I dare say you make it so that you can use your innate boxing ability to do the same thing that you did to Lomachenko, which, taking of that same moniker, you take away the willingness to throw from your opponent to render that gap useless on their part, because their distance isn't able to be capitalized when they have the distance advantage because they don't want to throw. You're taking away options that they would want to use on the outside. That can lead to a whole new dichotomy of ability to fight going into the later stages of the fight. Because now, if you can take away Shakur's ability to be able to be where he wants to be, which is safe, which is not risk anything, you take away that ability and you make him fall back into the mentality of everybody's a risk at every point in time. That can be your real favored way to win, because there is a reality that we could see where Shakur's uber defensive posture, if it gets too far, though again it's already upwards to the scale as the best defensive player in the game, if it gets too far conservative, especially with how we're seeing the change in idea of what boxing should look like from fans as well as from judges, might not get rewarded in the same way that we see from the likes of Shakur in the past, especially on a Turkey Out Sheet card, a Ring Magazine card. Though I'm not saying Shakur is a runner. He is not a runner. I'm saying stylistically, because of how you've heard the rhetoric, you've heard the conversations, One of the things that Shakur is fighting against and we don't talk about is the very nature of the demeaning of his own style, because even though it's oh so good, people are saying that some people, not all, and not me, but some people are of the notion that that isn't what boxing should look like. Some judges as well. And lo and behold, I'm telling you right now, with the way we just had Tim Cheatham have some abysmal judging over this year and over this past year. We've had a bunch of really sketchy decisions where the boxer didn't get his hand raised when he was boxing on the outside properly. So it could be that he's fighting he's fighting an uphill battle, though it's unfair to him. He'll use that to his advantage. He's got some success. Second thing that he's got to do is not let himself get frustrated. We said it countless times before. Teofimo Lopez, he cannot let himself lose himself from the frustration that Shakur's style can bring. We know he struggled against Sandro Martin. We know he struggled against Jermaine Ortiz. We've known the issues when dealing with fighters that are very conservative from the outlook of he doesn't look nearly as comfortable, as well as he cannot systematically break down that type of style in the same way. Of course, he looks the best when somebody's trying to come at him, come against him, and more so bring the fight to him. But at worst, though he's been able to win, it's been against people who are willing to use their feet, use their speed, and score shots and be looking to get out the way. Again, from Teo's perspective, y'all don't want to come and fight. But from their perspective, hey man, you can't land on targets that are relying more so on defensive postures. It's a struggle. It's a concern. It's a dilemma that you as a fighter, you got to deal with, not me. But if he can get over that, rather if he can stifle that and not let himself go into the same identity that he was when he was asking himself, do I still got it? Why isn't things going my way? Can he let the mental fortitude that I've said I believe has grown since that situation and since those two fights with Martin and Ortiz, and as well as with Kambosos in the third fight, that goes into a more zen-like state. This posture of more laden professionalism that we've been seeing from T.O. over the course of these last couple interview processes, this elevated maturity translates into a more solidified mental structure. That can be one of the biggest X factors as to why T.O. can win this fight. Because nothing, we know his talent can elevate up to the best of the best. He's got to be able to let his mind be open to get there. Not looking at what's going wrong, but look at what I know I can do right. Find a way, like he did against Lomachenko. Trust everything you got, because if you don't, and you start second guessing yourself, Shakur's got you dead to rights. He do. He gonna have you dead to rights. He will absolutely have you dead to rights. That's the second thing. And the last thing that he's got to do, when it comes to beating Shakur Stevens, at least in my perspective of whether he can do it. Just like I said with Shakur, win those first 6 rounds. T.O., your job's a little bit more simple. Keep it close. Keep it close. And the reason why I say keep it close, make Shakur the aggressor. If you can make it so that we get a fighter in Shakur Stevens who is not able to control what this fight is. You can make it so that we get a fighter in Shakur Stevenson that is not able to wholeheartedly box the mess out of you. And it's going into round 7 and it is a competitive, 3-3, 4-2? And everybody's got the same feeling. Yo, Shakur ain't got that same level of control. Wait a minute. Hold on now. T.O.'s boxing pretty well against what is seen as one of the best pure boxers in the business. Does it feel like Shakur Stevenson doesn't have the same stranglehold on this fight as we normally see? Does the gap not seem to be widening for Shakur Stevenson when it comes to fighting on the outside, boxing with this jab, utilizing that oh so accurate offense? And the defense of his is not helping him in the same way as we've seen with others. In fact, he's actually being, dare I say, picked apart in a mains that we haven't seen before. All of a sudden, now Shakur's got to fight. He got to work. He's got to get out of Shakur mentality and go into the Zepeda mentality. He's got to bring the fight to you. He's got to work on the inside. He's got to be willing to sit on the ropes and say, all right, I'm down to some degree, or I ain't pulling ahead. I got to win this fight. Pot shotting, picking my stuff, but letting you get close so I can beat you in the war that you want by just out refining you. That's, if you can make Shakur think like that, delve back into that situation with Zepeda. I got to prove a point. I got to dig my heels. One, it'll make for a vastly more exciting fight, but two, it'll go in your favor. Because as much as Shakur is a great, can be a great offensive fighter, hands shouldn't be an issue, as we've seen against Zepeda, and as he says he found a remedy. Stamina, if he's able to keep up with Zepeda, I'm not concerned nearly as much. They can keep up with the offense on the inside with Shakur or with Tio. But what I am concerned about is the culpability to land in tit-for-tat exchanges. Because then every exchange will be a 50-50 exchange. Everything's going to be, can your defense catch and counter everything that Tio's going to throw? Because Tio's going to be a whole lot better if you got to bring the fight to him than you faced against just about anybody in your career. And they're going to be Oscar Valdez, where he's just a hook merchant. They ain't going to be Jamal Herring, or Jamal Herring, though he was a good puncher. They ain't going to be a Yoshino that you're just too quick to be able to, that he can do anything with. It's not going to be that. And they ain't going to be an Archie Maratunian that will leave himself so vulnerable that he will just, on the inside, he'll get picked apart. Ain't gonna be that. Ain't gonna be a Josh Padley where you landing shots to the body are going to make him fall. Ain't gonna be that. There's gonna be a velocity and unpredictability that if you want to go and fight like that, if you get forced to, if you're Shakur, Tio, that's not just his wheelhouse, that's where he pulls away. But it starts with playing Shakur's game. Most people that try just to go and bum rush or say, my style's gonna be your style, I'ma just make it so your boxing's null and void, and I'ma just wear you out, and it doesn't work. If you want to beat Shakur, you gotta box with Shakur. And you gotta make him play what you want to do, not the other way around. Because every time you try to play his game, he will always come out on top, nearly every time. Even with the elevated success of what we know Tio can accomplish with his own boxing IQ and acumen, which is real. We also know that it's you just trying to buck against what Shakur wants ain't gonna be enough. You gotta play with what he wants to do. And then when he says it's not working, that's when you can do what you want to do. Because you're changing the fighter. The fighter isn't changing you. That's what Tio's, at least in my perspective, that's what he's got to do. He does that, he got himself a will to win. And if he does do that, he can get a definitive unanimous decision. He really can. But just like with Shakur, it's going to come down to those first 6 rounds. If he gets too far gone in those first 6 rounds, we can see the thing like we said with Devin Haney. I can just cruise to a finish by the end of the night. Without any issue. Without any trouble. Without any means of looking back and saying, oh my gosh, we in danger. Ain't gonna be that. But if you can make it so that Shakur has got to commit to being the very fighter that he never wanted to be. Now you got him in a way that it's a dog-eat-dog world. Who's the bigger dog in that regard? And that's the game that we will. If that's the game that we playing, I'll take my bet with Tio. I will if it comes down to that. But like I said, it's going to be a highly contested affair. So that's how both of them can win this fight. Also, the power of Tio, if he can make it so that Shakur is legitimately fearful or too respectful of what Tio has in his back pocket with his power in both hands, that can lead into a very uber conservative nature that, because it goes even to the farthest extremes, even for Shakur, it can be in a bad way and go in his favor. That's just me. But now that we get out of the way, now it's time for the prediction of who's gonna win. All right, here we go. Let's go. Idaho, come on, gather around. You got my thoughts. You got my opinions. I'm about to read your chats, absolutely. I see y'all commenting. We try to make it so we can get this in one fell swoop. And then I can react to what you got to say afterwards and have an even more robust conversation. But I'm on the roll. Let me finish this. I'm on the roll right now. I'm on the roll. But for my ultimate prediction as to who's going to win this fight, with everything taken into account, when it comes to Shakur and Preveiw Lopez, who I think is going to take the day and become arguably one of the 5 best fighters in the world in a fight for prime for all the marbles, I have Teofimo Lopez. Yes, I got Tio winning. I got him winning. It might sound crazy. I got him winning. And the reason being that versatility and the experience of knowing how to dig deep against the best in the world like Lomachenko, who had similar characteristics or not even similar, who at that point in time is still considered, even today, is still considered one of the greatest minds that we've ever seen. When you're dealing with that, Shakur is not somebody that is oh so unbeatable. As well as when it comes to, you also understand, if this fight goes in another direction, it's going to go in a vastly more laden favored for me. I just got to put Shakur in that direction. There is an experience that Tio has that Shakur just doesn't have when it comes to not just experiencing defeat at the pro level and evolving and adapting at the pro level. Not saying Shakur has neither, but when it comes to finding a way, in a way, that can pull the best out of you. When that happened, Tio did it against the best in the world. We're going to find out how high Shakur's real level is when it comes to pulling the best out of himself when the situation calls for it against an opponent that anything less will get you a failing loss. I am not saying Shakur can't do it, but if I'm going to hang my hat on something, I'm going to hang my hat on the truly elite. Not saying they're both truly elite, but the elite fighter that has a bag that is also elite in so many different departments that can fit a lot more situations, barring something goes wrong, rather than Shakur, who, while his bag may not be more rudimentary or may not be as robust, it is indeed incredibly refined. But we've only seen 2 modes that he can go through. And one of those modes, like with Zepeda, he still dominated the fight. But if that was a different fighter, that fight could have looked differently. Because this type of opponent can expose the weakest part of Tio. This type of opponent in Preveiw Lopez can expose the weakest part of Shakur's perceived game in a way that, as impressive as it was against Zepeda, if it has to get to that type of way, we, at least me, If it comes down to your boxing ain't working and you got to bring the fight to him, I don't think that Shakur can win that if he has to resort to a plan B. Teal's got a plan A, B, and C strictly because he has a more diverse skill set. Shakur's plan A is almost unbeatable. His plan B as a last resort, going and bringing the fight to you, is indeed great, but is it great enough? And for this fight, I'm going to say no. If he proves me wrong, he proves me wrong. That's strict difference. That your adaptability is just under the threshold that I need to see going up against this elite of a offensive savant, as well as he's a great defensive fighter. Be clear now, part of the reason why Teal was a great 50-50 fighter is because he is great defensively. Don't forget that. Make you miss and make you pay ain't just about you being slick. It's about making sure you can take the chance while minimizing the risk on your own end. That's why he's been such a dangerous boxer. That's why Barboza was backing up, not trying to go and fight against him when he was indeed trying to fight on the outside and consistently giving up ground because he got caught, he got hurt, and he wasn't able to land anything substantially on Teal, but Teal was consistently able to land some good shots to the body, quick shots downstairs, feigning with the hook going to go into another hook. He was able to mix and match what his order was of the day to fit what his taste buds needed for that fight. He can do that on a more versatile scale. Like I said, it's the wall versus water. The ever-changing ability of Teofimo Lopez versus the structured, I don't want to say rigid, but the structured impenetrability of the defensive fundamental style that is Shakur Stevenson. If Shakur's got cracks in that defense, no matter how small, that water can break through and erode the walls. And inevitably, the walls come crashing down. Walls of Jericho, Y2K, break it down. That's what it can be. I'm not saying it is a concrete, but that's what we're dealing with. A fighter that can fight in any given vessel versus a vessel that is unbreakable. But if that vessel does indeed have a limit, somebody's going to find it out at 140. It would be Shakur Stevenson. And he's got the power to break it down, if in fact it gets there. So I got T.O. winning. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But boy, I can't wait to see it, man. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. That's my resolution. That is my opinion of who's going to win this fight. I got T.O. winning by, I'm going to say split decision. I got T.O. winning by split decision in a very intriguing affair where his offense is able to take the day due to him being good enough defensively as well as being able to box with Teal from the outside and force Teal to come and fight him. He does that. We got it great. We got it going. Absolutely. No question about it. I got a split decision. It's going to be close, but I got a split decision, man. It's going to be a war. I'm telling you, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be a joy to witness and see. Absolutely. But let me keep on reading with you all's chats. Let me see. Teal has to keep Shakur at a high pace and keep his hands up. He does, but a high pace could help test the gas tank of Shakur at 140, though I don't think it'll be an issue. It's just the fact, the biggest thing, you can't get lost or left behind in that outside battle. You do that, it's going to be in trouble. But if you can't keep it close, it can be really, really good. Let me see, Teal needs to go to the body with early combinations. That's another thing. Body work. Attack the arms and the base of the Philly show. You saw the likes of Canelo do it against Caleb Plant. You seen that is a way to go and win against the Philly show. You attack that low hand. Even if stuff ain't landing, you're at least one, you're pinning something. And as two, you can hurt it to the point up, he can't use it like he wants. So all of a sudden now, or rather now, because he's a southpaw, that jab ain't coming out as quick. Swelling starts to ape up a little bit. There's openings behind the elbow, in the solar plexus. There are, in that basement area, there's places to flood. Absolutely. Let me see. Also, Justin, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Appreciate you coming in on the show. Steve Watson doesn't like running, so he'll probably favor T.O. style. Like I said, the judging sentiments, that's a concern. I think T.O.'s 50-50s. I think T.O. wins most 50-50s. And Shakur's going to take the pot shots, yep, or easy pick him off punches. That's his MO. Now, granted, I think he will sit down on those pot shot punches. He's going to have to, because it's going to take that type of real, feeling effort against this version of T.O. to gain the respect necessary. Not saying he doesn't already have respect, but with that, we've sparred before. Regardless, I don't know how it went. I just know there's a comfortability that if T.O. knows what he's dealing with, he's a hard man to beat. He's a hard man to beat. I also don't like the narrative that T.O. is just athletic. He's a lineal ring champion. No, trust me. That's what I've never. One of the biggest things I've said about T.O., his IQ is already higher than most in the boxing world, not just his division. In the boxing, it's on the level of a Shakur Stevenson. You can say that Shakur is higher. Fine. Cool. It's on that same threshold of elite caliber offensive identity, or red and defensive identity. Just ring generalship, boxing IQ as a whole, with everything taken into account. He's up there. And he can get up to pound for pound #1 level, because he's done it before. And he's, again, every fight he's been with a real top 10 level contender or higher. He's came out looking better than, when the lights are brightest, he shines the brightest. When the lights are brightest, T.O., regardless, you can say he lost to Cambosos, absolutely. You can say he lost to Sandro, you can say he should have lost to Sandro Martin. I think he should have. You can say everything about everything with his performance against Jermaine Ortiz. You can't. All of that is factually true. But when the lights are brightest, he shines the most. Every single time. Every time. That's the one thing we can say verbatim. There's never been a big moment in T.O.'s career that he hasn't stepped up and shown out in a way that put the world on notice. He was supposed to be a gimme fight for Lomachenko. He beat him. He was Josh Taylor after with the situations of T.O. questioning himself. He beat him when it was supposed to be Taylor off of just being an undisputed champion, still considered pound in the world. He's a young fighter, another big test. Can he get it done? But Josh Taylor is still Josh Taylor. Walked him. We're not saying Barboza's on the same level, but I believe Barboza was undefeated. Pretty decently high rated on a featured Big 3 type of card in New York City, and he had the best performance out of everybody in that facility. The best out of Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia. Raito Satsumi. He cleaned everybody out. When it's with a production against a legit game opponent. I'm not trying to overhype T.O. I'm trying to give you a situation. This brother has never failed to show up in a way that puts whatever you think is above him on notice, or he shows you the reality, hey, I'm actually up here, and you thought I was only here. He's been able to beat the odds definitively when they're the biggest. He can do it again against Shakur. What do you think he can do? It's as close to 50-50 as you can have it. But he can do it. I'm telling you, he can do it. Also, Big Sage, what's going on with you? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, glad you joined. If it's your first time, hopefully you subscribe to the channel. Anybody else who is your first time, hey, come on and subscribe to the channel. Join the hottest show in all of the globe. Leave a like on the video. And if you want to shoot some money over my way, hey, pay some bills and help keep the show going. If you like what we got going on and you want to see it continue to thrive, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as Super Chat, Super Gifts, and all that stuff. If you can support the channel, what would mean the world to me. We want to make it happen, want to make it grow, and want to make it better for you all. Absolutely. So hey, if you can give, appreciate it. If you can't, just sticking around is good enough, and telling people about the show and leaving likes on the stream helps us out immensely. And please subscribe and join the empire. We would love to have you along for the ride that we got going on. Absolutely. But let me see what is most likely to happen. This is Shakur's first time at this level of opponent. It is. It truly is. One of the unspoken truths about this fight is that Shakur is, his litmus test is being strained, because there's going to be a situation now where the same issues that he had in his worst fight can come about again. But like when he fought De Los Santos, which again is what everybody's hanging their hat on as to, he showed against that. Can he do it against Teofimo Lopez? Have we seen him do something against a fighter like a De Los Santos-esque archetype in a way that can give us confidence that, okay, he can do it against Teo? When clearly a well-rounded fighter with the same athletic prowess can give him some problems, and it's dangerous in the mind of Shakur Stevens. His words, not mine. That added level of danger with somebody that can think at the same level as you, which, no respect to De Los Santos, he ain't nowhere near the mental savant that we see Teo as. Nowhere close. There's a danger where, what if, speculation. This ain't me saying it's concrete, speculation. What if we get to a point in time where that performance by De Los Santos wasn't just because his hands were injured? What if it is indeed he fought like that because this type of heat, with that type of potential kinetic damage that Teo can bring, and that athletic archetype that Teo is, at the highest of accords, is something that Shakur does not do good against, period. He doesn't. What if that's the case? And if that is the case, oh my gosh, we're going to look at this fight in a whole new way. And that De Los Santos fight is going to come a lot more prevalent, potentially, hypothetically. It can be. Versatility and experience is always a good combo to have to come up with the win. That's the truth. It is the adaptable, the chameleon-like qualities to fit your environment, or something that can make a fighter incredible and so hard to stop. Doesn't make them unbeatable in most regards, but it can make them so hard to stop. And that is what you need going against a fighter like Shakur. Every fighter that Shakur has fought, for the most part, when their plan A failed, they had nothing else. Teo's got something else he can do at the same high level, which, if it comes up, hey, it can be really good. Let me see. Let me see if I'm saying this right. Is it Mihana? I believe it's Mihana. Mihana, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in the show. Apologies, I don't know exactly what you are saying. Hopefully it's a hello and how you doing. But I appreciate you joining in on the ride. I appreciate you tuning into the show. And we appreciate all of you coming in on my, or rather our, it is my show, but on our on our event. Well, we do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're going back on Friday talking more about this fight and shoot, a lot more stuff in the boxing and sports world in general, because it's going to be your show to control with the championship rounds on all day Friday. So I can't wait to see you all tune in for the show. This is my problem with Teo from Ryan Graves. My problem, also, that last comment was from Big Sage, who's talking about the versatility and experience. I love the conversation. Keep on chatting. We want to hear from you. Absolutely. But let me see. Ryan Graves, my problem with Teo is his fights. He fights with his hands down. This will be a good loss against Shakur. If it is a loss, it wouldn't be a bad loss against Shakur, but it still would be a definite blow to the status of Teo. He is right about that, with his career being in the balance in some regards. But yeah, Teo fights with the hands down. He does. And it can be a danger. But understand why. He has, just like with John Ennis, he has the ability to react and be loose enough to counter with whatever he sees come his way. Fighting with his hands down for Tio, not for everybody, but for Tio, is an advantage because he's looking to expose and has the capacity to expose the opening that comes if you try to attack. He looks inviting. He looks like he is, you can get me. I'll shake my arms. I'll duck down. I'll do all that posturing. But it's because I'm trying to get you to do something. And we talked about the speed of Shakur is not faster than Tio. It's not. He's a sharp puncher. Technically incredible. But he's never been seen athletically as amongst the same likes of a Ennis or a Crawford or a Benavidez or a Noya Inoue or a Bam Rodriguez or we can even say a Deontay Wilder in his prime. From an athletic perspective, he's never been the fastest. He's never been the most explosive. His eyes are the best weapon he's got. That's not bad. That's insane. But he's so good with his depth perception, with his timing, and with his noticing of when you're going to throw and what you're going to do. He makes up for his lack of explosive speed. Go watch Josh Padley. Go watch Aratunian. Go watch Oscar Valdez. Every punch he throws, it's sharp. It can be damaging, but it's not blowing you away with speed. You can see the shoulder getting ready to throw. He doesn't telegraph his punches, but it's slow enough. You can notice that it's coming. But he's so good at reading your body, your language, your fighting style. He gets in your cadence. He dictates what you do while operating inside of who you are. Ain't many fighters can do that. You're fighting his game, but he's fighting in between your rhythm. That's hard to do. That's a twofold street that everybody can't produce, but Shakur can. But the issue is this type of physical advantage that Tio has is the biggest that we've ever seen Shakur face off against. And I'm not relying on the athletic ability alone. It is the notion, or rather the reality, that it is an athletic advantage that is wider than anything Shakur has faced, on top of the mental mind of Tio can get to where Shakur is by the time the second half of the fight comes around. Dare I say the first 4 rounds. You're not dealing with somebody you can just outsmart as definitively as everybody else that easily. You're dealing with somebody that everything that you are worst, your worst nightmare is me. Your worst nightmare is me. I match you in height. I match you in reach. I'm faster than you. I'm more explosive than you. And you can't necessarily definitively outthink me. Or rather, you got to prove it. It's not a foregone conclusion that I can't think on your level. I can't see what you see. I can't recognize what you recognize. I can't do the same thing to you that you do to me. It's not that type of chessboard anymore against Tio. I can do what you do. I can fight your fight. I can read the same way you read. And I can do it quicker on my best day. And if today's my best day, buddy, you're gonna be in for a long night. Because if I'm putting you to a draw, by the time we get to the second half, you're going to have to do the same thing Lomachenko did. This fight can look eerily similar to Lomachenko. This fight can look eerily similar to that Lomachenko fight. It truly can. Because if the same way Loma had to fight back after getting nullified because of Tio being able to stifle what Loma wanted to do offensively, we are looking and saying that Teofimo Lopez in this same way can do that same thing to Shakur. And let's be honest, Shakur is not the same offensive fighter as Lomachenko. And Shakur, to fight back, if he has to fight back, doesn't have the same capacity to fight back. Simply because of his offensive rate as well as his temperament. His temperament is not a fighter that wants to go get you. He doesn't want to go get you, let alone the other X factor. But if his hands break again, well, then that spells danger for everybody involved in Shakur's corner. That's danger for everybody. Everybody involved is in danger if that happens. I mean, good gosh. We didn't even bring up the fact that Tio's hands could break in this fight for a fourth time. Especially with the ability of Tio, that one of his best defensive attributes is catching shots. But he catches a shot, and as his glove is moving, your hand's landing. Next thing you know, wrist is broken, knuckles broken, everything's awry. It can get dangerous. It can get dangerous. There's a lot. You can't just look at the boxing IQ as the only definitive factor for this specific fight that can do whatever needs to be done, because this is not that one dimension type of game with this type of fighter. It ain't. Against this guy, it ain't. It never. Let me see. Great analogy. Break down the wall. Yeah, man. Break the walls of Jericho. He can submit him. He can't submit him. He can break down the walls of Shakur's defense because he's got that type of ability. So Shakur, he gotta be careful. We're gonna see if Shakur's defense is worth the hype that we've been saying. Not because it already isn't proven. It is proven, but it hasn't been proven against this level. It's gonna be really interesting. Let me see. I got Tio also. Okay, so you got Tio winning as well. I bet you. Come on, let's go. Unanimous decision. Hey, look, I think it's gonna be split. I truly do think it's gonna be a split decision. If he wins unanimous, that's even more definitive proof. Okay, yeah, we gotta start talking about Tio in a vastly different way. If he does that, that'll be insane. Will his hands hold up like a yep, you brought it up. Absolutely. Will Shakur's hands hold up? I want to say I'm confident, but it is a factor nonetheless. One errant body shot, one bad elbow block that catches him here, one bad anything that makes him go awry. He said he found a solution. We're going to find out if he did, because it's going to be a shame. See, he fought Padley very differently. He fought Padley very differently, so that's crazy. He was not trying to fight. He was not trying to doggone it. Oh, no. Shoot. Real quick. That video didn't stop playing. Doggone it. Real quick. I'm sorry. I forgot something. I had forgotten something. Apologies for the pause. I had forgotten something that I wanted to do. Also, be clear. I'm trying to make sure, full disclaimer, I'm trying to make sure nothing else is able to be heard in the background. Is anything playing in the background? Because I'm trying to make sure that ain't nothing else able to be heard or listened to. I got my volume down. Audio and stuff should be paused. Is or was anything playing while I am on stream, while I was talking? Please say no. Please. That's a lot of good talk that I don't want to go on the waste. Lord knows that's a lot of good talk that I'm trying to make sure everything. Okay, so you say no. Okay, so nothing's playing. So you don't hear nothing. So okay, good. Y'all didn't hear nothing. Okay. That whole time I was talking, y'all didn't hear nothing. Okay, good. Just trying to make sure. I was just trying to make sure. I got scared. I was trying to make sure myself was muted. I was trying to make sure nothing was going awry with the audio real quick. And so for the whole breakdown, y'all didn't hear anything in the background. If so, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. I was petrified. Oh, gosh. My goodness. If y'all are saying no, we good. We A-okay. We are A-okay. Yeah, we A-okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, we had some background notes trying to make sure. I'm just trying to make sure ain't nothing going on so we don't get nothing else planned. Okay, so we should be good now. Okay, but let me see. He was not trying to fight De Los Santos at all, but he wanted to hurt Padley. Yeah, he did. Again, we gave credence because his hands were injured in the De Los Santos fight. We respect that is a reality. What we're saying is when it comes to whatchamacallit, T.O., if he fights like this again, it's going to give a lot of better insight into the fact that T.O., or rather that De Los Santos, wasn't strictly because his hands were broken. If he fights like he did against De Los Santos as well. Padley, he was trying to prove a point. Padley, he was trying to show, I can knock you out. I can fight you. I can do what I need to do. We good to go. My hands are great. I got power, all that stuff. Fighter was on 3 days' notice, absolutely. But he was trying to make a point after that De Los Santos fight. But if he fights like De Los Santos again, we're going to have a lot of proof that, okay, that what we see with De Los Santos back then wasn't a fluke. He actually just doesn't do good with that final. Someone has to tell the truth. And John's here to say, look, I'm just trying to give you the best thoughts I can, Sage. I'm just doing the best I can, trying to give y'all some opinion, some leeway. Let me see. Israel Gonzalez, most unbiased breakdown I've seen. Hey, look, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you think this is great. We want to hear your thoughts, though. In fact, while we got some time, let me put out a poll. Real quick. So hey, we can actually get some votes on who you all have winning. Almost said Dio. Who wins Did I spell it right? I think I spelled it right. Hold on. We put out a poll. I want to see how the public feels. I want to see how the opinions of the masses, opinions of the empire, have their thoughts when it comes to looking at this fight of epic proportions. Let me make sure everything's spelled correctly. Yes, indeed. We're going to start a poll. We're going to see what you all got to say. In the meantime, let me see. Sadly, I can't pronounce your name, sadly, but appreciate you tuning in nonetheless. Who are you? I'm John Luke Watts. This is the World Boy, and I'm so happy that you're here with us on today. Also, Burr, what's going on with you as well? Thank you for tuning into the show. Bakram is going to dominate Kelly. Oh, he is. Oh, trust me. Let me stick a little bit more with the T.O. conversation. Then we're going to talk about Bakram as well. Because, boy, if you saw that stare down with Bakram and Kelly, Bakram looks like he is, that man is psychotic. That man is, something wrong with him. Something wrong with him. Something wrong with that brother. He looks horrifying. I mean, shoot. I think Kelly even looked on that stare down. Kelly, like within 15 seconds, was like, "Oh man, wait a minute, hold on, this ain't a show. This cat was gonna come in and try to take me out. That's insane, ridiculous." But let me see. Burr, not gonna lie, that's gonna be a close bout. But I got Bakram by KO in the 11th, or unanimous decision on some 15-13. I got Bakram by knockout. I knocking him out. I do. I think Bakram's gonna knock him out. I think it's gonna knock him. I think it's gonna knock him out in 6. It may be lofty. Might be lofty, but I think it's going to knock him out in 6. I need to see him knock him out in 6 because I want to see per what Bakram again, and I'll play this later on. Backwam says he wanted to call out somebody else in the 154-pound division. Like, he'll say, hey, look, I want that fight anytime. And if that's the case, it's a very intriguing matchup that I would love to see between two of the heaviest hitters in the business. And, of course, we'll talk about Backwam versus Boots Ennis. Oh, yes, indeed. We're going to talk about that fight, though, later on in the show. But it can be intriguing. Kelly poked the bear. Backwam ain't going to let it say he won't. I guarantee you he won't. Not at all. So I appreciate. Okay, let's see. We good. Okay, yep, going back to the conversation. Everybody's saying they can't hear nothing. There's also teachings. Wow, teaching PBS, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. On the day, hopefully, you said there was some background talking notes. Hopefully, I was trying to make sure everything was muted as I was discussing. Thought I hit everything correctly. If there was something going on, like I said, I do apologize on the matter, but even still, we're going to go about with the show. Y'all saying it's all good, so I'm going to take your word for it. Let me say, what you did wrong that I got T.O. winning? I wanted to pull the upset. Hey, I got T.O. winning as well. Like you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one. Don't be shocked if you see people picking T.O. to win. Don't be shocked at all of that. Because this is Teofimo. We're talking about Teofimo Lopez, who time and time again has shown he is an all-world level. It ain't bad to think that there might be somebody better than Shakur that is worth their weight in gold. And he got gold. A lot of it. Took him from big empires that were dominant, like Lomachenko. He's been one of the most, when he's on, he's been one of the best people out there since, from a perspective of competitive ability. We have been putting T.O. in the same caliber as a Jerron Boots Ennis because of that it factor. Not just because, it's a fun thing to say. He's got that it factor. It's unexplainable. It's not just that. It's a real sentiment of dissection of his skill set. He's got things in his arsenal that, because they're there, he has access to an ability that most others never have and can't beat. And so if he is able to use that properly, he can give anybody in the world a run for his money or beat him. He's of that same unique, unexplainable talents. He can beat Shakur. If Shakur beats him, it's all the more impressive as to what exactly Shakur is as a fighter. Remember that. It's all the more impressive what Shakur is as a fighter if he can go through and beat Teofimo Lopez. Buddy, you want to talk about all-world talent. There won't be anything that anybody can say about Shakur if he beats Teofimo Lopez. Really, there won't. Like, for real, who's going to beat him at 135 if he beats Teo? Most likely not anybody. You could say Abdullah Mason, but even still, that's a lofty goal to have. That's a lofty goal to have. So I'm like, I don't know. More than I don't know, it doesn't. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. But let me see. But let me see. I think Kelly's a little better than Sue. He is. He's a little better than Sue. I'm not denying that, at least right now. Right now, yeah, he's a little better than Sue. It's the fact that you can't be just a little better for Buckrum. You got to be like pretty decently better, because that overwhelming pressure, and when we say power, it's not just, he can put you out. Your defensive posture can be changed all because of what T.O. does, or what Backwam does when he lands on you. Like, he can render your defense useless by simply punching through it. Insane, like ridiculous. It's such a threat, it pushes you back without him even landing. That's scary. And so Kelly's going to have to be like on it. He's going to have to do it the same that we saw with Subriel Matias against Dalton Smith, when Kelly wasn't afraid of what Sabrina Matias was doing and straight up said, we in it, you're going to have to fight like that in some degree. If he can't box, you're going to have to fight like that. Because if you don't, it can be a very quick night. Let me see. If he destroys Kelly similar to Sue, there's 3 killers, 1 before. Boy, you ain't lying. If he puts Kelly to bed in the same destructive way, I've been saying that there's 3 killers outright: Boots, Virgil, Buckram, along with, again, the champions like with Fundora and others, and Bochuck and Adam. Like I said, there's a bunch of people. If you want to say that Buckram is an unproven, real threat, though he's a champion, from a caliber of strictly talent, if he beats Kelly in the same way he beat Sue, we can say then it ain't just the fact that Sue degraded as a fighter. Buckram's just that dangerous. Straight up. Straight up, if he does that, he's just that dangerous. And if so, he gonna work. If so, everybody better be on the lookout. Because that Buckram buddy, he ain't no joke. He ain't no joke. Let me see how the fact that Shakur is a favorite might be the craziest thing I've seen. I mean, should we be surprised? Be honest. Hey, let's be honest here. Should we be surprised? Should we be surprised that Shakur is not the favorite? Should we be surprised that Shakur ain't the favorite? Should we? I'm dead serious. Or should we be surprised that Shakur is the favorite? My apologies. Because Shakur, just like with Lomachenko, just like with Josh Taylor, is in the same position where the pure boxer or the elevated talent and the unpredictability of T.O. walking into this light because of the up and down career that he's had has people saying, I don't know if I trust him in the same way as many other people. I don't. In terms of what the odds and a lot of fans may say. Shushu characters bringing up Jermaine Ortiz. Again, bringing up the likes of Sandro Martin. Again, those performances linger. You got beat by Kambosos. What makes you think you're going to beat Shakur Stevenson? Those performances linger. They really do. He's gotten way better than that since those fights. Doesn't matter. This is the 3rd time on this type of all-world platform against a top 10 level boxer. T.O.'s been an underdog. Yet, every time, he's been proven, I'm the best of the best. You should have bet on me if you're a betting man. Now, I don't bet, but still, it's like, that's what happens. That, like, you get it? It's a shame. It's a shame, but it's the truth. It's a shame, but it's the truth. Every single time he's fought a pound-for-pound level fighter, he's been the underdog. Every time. Every time. So, that's why I don't look at the odds as much, because I know for a fact the talent that we're dealing with. Shakur has been elevating his brand so much, and his skills are so undeniable. Absolutely. He deserves to have some favoritism. I understand. But it should be a 50-50 fight for the world to see. Yet, they see it as we fight like we fight. Or rather, Shakur's the better man. Shakur's unbeatable. Shakur's the best pure boxer in the game. T.O.'s got to beat him. Not the other way around. When it's T.O. that's got the better record, better track record, better resume, better experience, better production, higher level, greater wins, arguably should have already been undisputed. Like, it should be flipped the other way. Shakur's got to beat T.O., but that's not how the public views it. Because of who T.O. and Shakur view that right now in his current standings of the public eye. So let me see. Shakur gonna have to fight. Shakur gonna have to. Shakur gonna have to bite his ear to win. I hope not. Lord knows, I hope that ain't the case. Speaking of Abdullah, people are getting real disrespectful, acting like Murataya won't kill Abdullah as of right now. At this point, Murataya would beat, Murataya would beat Abdullah Mason currently. Murataya would beat Abdullah Mason currently, especially with the performance that he put on against Andy Cruz. He did. And Andy Cruz put on a great performance against Murataya, and Murataya still won. Andy Cruz versus Murataya versus Abdullah Mason would be a great unification bout. However, with what we saw against Noakes for Abdullah Mason, while he's a champion, there's still a lot of growth that needs to happen over these next 2 years of training camp before we can start seeing the wholeness of his ability reach the potential start to reach the potential that we think he can get to. He's already doing it by becoming champion, but there's certain fighters like right now, like Murataya. Oh my. You get drawn to a firefight against him. He's got technique and pop and speed and length. That buddy got some reach on him as well. He ain't ready for that. As of right now, he's not ready for that type of opponent. But he's in the thick of it. That's the thing. See, that's the part about being a champion. You're in the thick of the mess when it comes to this division. Once you get to it, you're a title holder now. You got Schofield that's going to be coming on your heels. You got Murataya who's still there. You got Andy Cruz who he could say, you know what, let me get another shot at another title and I'll come for you. And you got Murataya if you want to become undisputed. You got to go against him. Oh, and you also got Shakur Stevenson, if he beats Tio, coming back down to 135 and reigning down there as well and looking to truly dominate the division to go undisputed. There's options. Oh, and by the way, in the future, if you're still champion, potentially by the end of this year, you got Emmanuel Navarrete coming up to 135, hypothetically. And he can belong up there. You got some people coming through, and I don't want to say, this is not me saying that you're a bum. This ain't me saying Abdullah Mason is not great. I love Abdullah Mason. He can be a phenomenal champion. He is a phenomenal champion right now. But I do know the tests are getting stronger very, very quickly. And certain people, like Murataya, him beating them would be a surprising testament to his ability. Not a foregone conclusion. Because he is genuinely, he's got room to grow. He can get to their level and even eclipse it. Because he's got everything he needs. But he at this point in time, those some dangerous fights. They really are. Let me see. Ron, you know, what you talking about? I agree, Murataya was schooling me. It'd be, ooh, boy. Ooh. Again, I think it'd be a great fight, but he ain't ready for that. He is not ready for that. Is it crazy if I bet on T.O. having a first round KO? Now, I do think it'd be crazy. You think that I think it's crazy. If you think that the best defensive fighter in the world today, who has had on paper, who has had a quote saying in the first round, people are too dangerous to risk anything, to get knocked out in the first, I wouldn't waste that money. Now, if T.O. does do that, understand. If T.O. does in fact beat him in one round, if he knocks out Shakur Stevenson in one round, straight up, not like Not even like almost as if not even almost. He doesn't belong in the ring with me. That type of destruction, and it's just one round done. It's gonna sound crazy to say. He does that. He might be tired. He might be tied for fourth in the world. I dare say if he does that for me, I'll put him up there with Bam. I'll tie him with Bam. I'll do it. If he does that, if he knocks Steel out in one round, I know the accolades are nowhere close. I will put him tied for third with Bam Rodriguez. I kid you not. That would be, we've already seen some insane stuff. There's never been a fight where Shakur just gets put out as if he doesn't belong. Like in the boxing ring with somebody else. I don't care how much power they got. If Tio does that, I'm putting him with Bam for top 3. I'm straight up. No question. He's top 3 in the world. If he not, who's stopping him? If he does that to Shakur, who in the world is stopping him afterwards? Oh, you think Devin Haney's going to beat him? If he does that? 154, Boots versus Tio. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that. If that took place. The skies, shoot. Put him at 168 for all I care. I don't care. If he does that, that would be the single most shocking moment I would have seen this year. Nothing stopping that. If Tio knocks out Shakur in one round, nothing's stopping that. Not a thing is stopping that if he does it. That's preposterous on the level that if it was accomplished, like, I don't care what accolades you have. At that point, that's too good to ignore. That's too good to ignore. That's way too good to ignore. Let me see. I'm also trying to see Jermaine put belt to butt on Keyshawn. Not going to lie, this is Keyshawn's first real dangerous opponent. Let's see how it goes. Yeah. Now again, the other one was Lemos because he came in at 168. But as a quality opposition, Jermaine Ortiz, he can spoil this party. He can spoil this party real quick for Keyshawn Davis. He can spoil this party insanely quick for the likes of Keyshawn. Quick and in a hurry. Not even, like I'm not even joking. He can put Keyshawn Davis way at the back of the line with a loss. He can. And it's not out of the question. Jermaine Ortiz is good. If Tio struggled with him and with what we've seen with Keyshawn Davis and his struggles, or rather his young career going derailed, as well as not having Bomac in his corner anymore, and I'm not going to lie, with some of the training footage, I don't think that was the right move. Keyshawn could be putting himself well behind the 8 ball, though his career is young, to get back in the spotlight. Because his reputation's already taken a hit. He can't afford to lose, and he can't afford to look bad either. Right now, we can't. So he better. I hope this works. Hope this new regime works. And if it don't, whew, gosh, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long year for Keyshawn Davis. Let me see. I don't think Abdullah can beat Andy Cruz. Yeah. That'll be an even more competitive fight. Because Andy Cruz doesn't have the pop that would keep Abdullah Mason off of him. But with the technical stuff he was doing against Murataya was a great boxer in his own right, able to adapt and move forward. Not saying Abdullah Mason can't, but at that high of a technical proficiency, that's at this point in time, like I said, Andy Cruz would give Abdullah Mason a world of trouble. At least in my perspective. Now, you could see Abdullah Mason, okay, hey, you can't punch with me. So, and I definitely got at least as fast of hand speed as Murataya, or comparable. And I can throw in a bigger volume. And I do throw at a higher pace. Yeah, it could be that, okay, it works and I'm going to take you out. But as of right now, this division is looking for this champion, Abdullah Mason. It's looking mighty dangerous for him. It really is. Let me see. Now Jermaine is very athletic. But I have Keyshawn by unanimous decision or late KO. Only if Keyshawn is circling the ring. If Keyshawn cut off the ring, it's GG's, and it's going to be very close. Well, that's the thing, the footwork. Can you stop what T.O. couldn't? Can you corner? Can you track him down? If you can't, it's going to be a very long night. Very, very long night. Also, let me see, MMA edits. What's going on with it? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today, MMA. We appreciate you joining in on our live stream. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Hopefully you're subscribed to the channel, and if you like what you're hearing, you'll stick around and join in on the conversation. We're talking about Shakur versus T.O. Final predictions. I got T.O. winning by split decision in this fight against Shakur Stevenson, as well as potentially low probability. Could see a knockout. Don't really know. But that's my thoughts on the matter. I'm getting your thoughts and opinions on this and everything else involving the world of boxing and beyond. Like, we got some news with Tyson Fury that we do want to jump into and delve into, because he's now officially back. And Lord knows, oh, he picked a good fight to come back against on Netflix of all places. We're going to delve into that in a little bit after this, the last conversation with Keyshawn Davis, Teofimo Lopez, and Shakur Stevenson. But let me see what you all keep on having to say. If T.O. knocks him out in the first, I have him pound number one. I don't think he's better anyway. But my gosh, man. Shoot. I mean, like, it would be so preposterous. He could make a claim. He could. Let me see. One thing I like about Jermaine is that you have to get used to his style. Not only that, he can fight, but excuse me, I'm sorry. Oh, let me reread that again. One thing I like about Jermaine is that you have to get used to his style. Not only that, he can fight, but may the best man win. Yeah, the Jermaine Ortiz will dig down deep and just say, if you want to go to war, scrap it out. We'll scrap. We'll go blow for blow. I'm athletic and I got some power myself. I'll trust what I can do, if need be, against you. I'll go there. And so Keyshawn can meet a match who will say, okay, I can hold my own where you're best at. Let's see what you got. Yeah, we can definitely see that. So this is gonna be very interesting to witness and see. Let me say, anyway, does not have the type of that type of wins yet, especially with that much. Nonito Donaire twice, Ahmed Daliv, Alan Picasso, who was number one at that point, who had one of the higher ranking. No, I'm sorry, not number one, number 10, but an incredibly tough out as a fighter. Louis Neary, who was a boogeyman at 122. Stephen Fulton, who was on the verge of being pound for pound number one at the time that he fought him, the best super bantamweight in the world, when he beat him. I don't know, two-time undisputed champion, I think it's a 4 or 5 division champion, broke Larry Holmes' record for most consecutive, I think most consecutive Ring magazine title defenses, as well as he broke, Joe Louis's record for the amount of times he defended the title? Like, straight up, one of those two he broke, if not both of them. Couple that with the fact that of the 30 fights that he's been in, 25 to 26 have been championship opportunities or defenses. I don't know what else you need to do. He's cleaned out all of 115, cleaned out all of 118. Only person that didn't fight was Casemiro, even though Casemiro wasn't nowhere close to the radar because he was going and moving and getting titles against champions. I don't know. If you say he's not the best in the world, hey, that's your prerogative. I have no issue. But to say that he ain't proven, I can't rock with you on that. He's more proven than Shakur. He's more proven than Shakur. Dare I say, he's as, if not more proven than Tia. Hypothetically. I mean, shoot. I can put him in the same proven capacity as a Canelo. Canelo got 60 plus fights. Like, that's ridiculous. At least to me. That's like, oh my gosh. I can't. I don't buy into that. That's me. I don't buy into that. But that's how you feel. That is how you feel. So I ain't got no issue with it. If that's your opinion. That's why we had the discourse, to see how people feel and how people go. Let me see. Now, none of those guys are as hyped as Shakur. Now, I do have to bring up a question. I do want to bring up a question. The hype around Shakur Stevenson, has it been hype or has it been elevated scrutiny? Now, the reason why I say that, he's been a name, but as similar to Devin Haney. As much as we've seen him talk about the talent, half the conversation has been, why is he so highly touted? He's not fun to watch. Half of the conversation around Shakur, beyond just, oh, he's a great defensive fighter, has been, he's boring. We have other people that should have more notoriety because this guy's not fun to watch. He's not fun to pay money for. He is not entertaining for a whole host of people. He should not have the level of platform and the level of cachet because he doesn't draw people to want to see him because he's not fun at all. Zepeda fight excluded, though that Zepeda fight proved some stuff. So is it that he's hyped, or is it that people are saying we don't want, like, he shouldn't have this level of cachet, but because he wins, we just want him gone? To some degree. I'm not saying that's all. I'm not saying that's all. I'm saying some people. Some. And we've seen, I don't know how much more hype you can have than to say, in a way, it's number one and number two in the world. I'll give this. In the States, United States, absolutely, Shakur is talked about more. Yes. But globally, it's been a lot of detraction of, should he be this much of a marketed fighter with us not enjoying him fighting? Similar conversation Devin Haney. Devin Haney right now proved his mettle of saying, oh my gosh, hey, yeah, okay, he shut me up. He destroyed Brian Norman Jr. and knocked him down. Okay, yeah, we should be talking about him. He's the best welterweight in the world. He's pound number 8 in the world. He can go undisputed at this division with no problem. He can probably make 154, no problem. Everybody's changed their tune, and now they're hyping up Devin Haney. The scrutiny kind of went by the wayside a little bit more. Shakur's kind of like, still, it seems to be a little bit more scrutiny than hype, but all of it, I guess, breeds constant, you're in the minds of people. So, if we want to count it as hype, I do understand. Let me see, I'm trying to see what you all had to anyway 2 times with the spirit. Yes, he is. Nakatani going to be his first super fight hype guy he's faced. Well, you look at it from this perspective. There's been 3 big fights that he's had. Nonito Donaire won, because Donaire was having a resurgence. Crazy enough, he's still getting ready to fight for a title right now. in the Super Series where it was the best super bantamweight in the world against a legend that was looking like he's back to prime form. That was his first super fight. Second one was against Lewis Neary. Was it Lewis Neary? No, Stephen Fulton. Stephen Fulton. When he moved up, fought the best, not just American super bantamweight, but the best pound for pound super bantamweight in the land, in all of the globe, with notoriety here in the States as well. And he mopped the floor with them. That was the second loss, or that was the second super fight to some degree. That's how this channel blew up in some regards, because I broke down that fight with Stephen Fulton. It was that big of a deal. That was the second one. The third one, though it wasn't over here, wasn't as touted, but the fight with Lewis Neary was the first fight in the Tokyo Dome since Buster Douglas versus Mike Tyson. I believe it was Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson. Whatever fight was over there in Tokyo Dome was the first one in 20-something years. If I remember that statistic correctly. Specifically because of the enemy to the people that Lewis Neary was. Mind you, he got banned from boxing in Japan. I forget what he did, but he had done something horrendous. And people wanted him gone. He had beaten some of their great legends over there. He went through that thing, sold out within the day it got announced. And that fight was seen around the globe and shared with that shotgun of a straight right that put Neary out like he got shot in the head. Everybody said, oh my gosh, he just went down. After getting knocked down too, he put down one of the biggest punches at this division, full stop. After getting put down and got up and walked him, that was the third one. From a talent perspective, the biggest fights were Fulton and Akhmadali and Donaire. Akhmadali seen as the hugely vaunted rival, talking against, in a way, fans around the globe were coming on this channel saying, hey, Akhmadali is getting ducked by Inoue. Inoue don't want that smoke. Inoue ain't ready for that. All that stuff. And Inoue beat him to a pulp. Or rather, boxed him to a T in a 12-round unanimous decision. Akhmadali didn't win a round. And Akhmadali was the best, not just best opposition, but arguably, from a talent perspective, was seen as the second best or third best fighter in the entirety of the division. Under Inoue, he was most likely seen as the most dangerous. Straight up between him and Martin Tapales. And he had already beaten Martin Tapales. And he put them both, did whatever he wanted to do. This is the first mega fight, as in from the same way that we see on a global stage. Everybody's excited for this one. You know, I mean everybody. A lot of people were excited for Stephen Fulton. That was a big fight. This is the first mega. There's super fights and there's mega fights. Canelo and Crawford, that was a mega fight. Not just a super fight, a mega fight. Ryan Garcia, Tank, mega fight. Canelo and Floyd, that was I think that was a mega fight. Borderline. Tyson versus Lennox Lewis, mega fight. Super fights are huge. Mega fights are global events. This is the first legit global event that eclipses everything. This is on par with the likes of, again, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua type of affair. A Tank versus Shakur type of affair. Mega fight. Like Shakur and T.O., this is a super fight. This Shakur and T.O. is a super fight. It's a big time deal. Absolutely. Everybody decided to see this. Sold out, hype, pop, everything. Perfect, phenomenal. But a mega fight, that eclipses, everything stops for that. Everything stops for that. This is the first mega fight that Inoue's been in. Well, the world's going to stop when that brother faces up against Nakatani. Because we've been talking about this fight for 4 years. 5 years. Spencer Crawford mega fight. Everything stopped when that fight was happening. Because we were waiting so long. The buildup was so anticipatory. The globe was waiting on these two to finally get it on with each other. So when it happened, time almost stood still to some degree. And that fight was etched, even though the fight was one-sided, it was etched in history as an event that was like, where were you when this happened? Because everybody, I can ask 10 people, and I guarantee you none of them will be like, can tell you the date, time, and who they were with and what was around them by the time they watched Spence get beat up by Crawford. You couldn't go anywhere without saying that's a mega fight. And this is going to be the first mega fight that we're going to see Shakur, that we're going to see anyway, which is about time. And he deserves that type of spotlight, which I'm excited for. And I can't wait for it. But this, he's been proven. I guarantee you he has been proven. Absolutely. Let me keep on reading. There's a lot of people that are coming in. Let me keep on reading what everybody else has to say. Like Allo James, what's going on with it? Hold on. Allo JC, what's going on? Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. And you've been chatting a bunch. Let me see what you got to say so I make sure I don't miss nobody in our responses. And you talking Inoue's resume? Yep, Inoue, he's worthy names. Not to mention, Inoue has 2 Hall of Famers on his resume, Donaire and Omar. Never rise. Yeah, look, like I'm telling you, he's got great people. He does have great people there. Whether they're highly rated in your mind. Sadly, not even sadly. Really, it's subjective. I can tell you who these people are. But if you don't feel that they're that good, well, I can't do nothing but just tell you what they are. But on a consistent level, even with the argument of around their demographic of weight class, we said somebody cleaned out 4 divisions straight. I don't care who you think is great or not. That's impressive to do. If we said that Devin Haney cleaned out 147, 1 through 5, knowing that the division is a weaker division, we would still say, hey, that's impressive. Okay, this cat's something different. We would still be saying it. Because that's hard to do. Because everybody ain't a bump. There's somebody there that's like, okay, that's a good win. And anyway, he's done that 4 times. We brought up 4 names, 3 of them in one division. That was like, okay, this is the truth. At least in my perspective. So again, if you don't agree, perfectly fine. But I can only give you what I know. I need the magnitude of a T.O. Shakur or Loma as far as when he fought them and how much weight those names held at the time. Well, no, again, Stephen Fulton was number 11 in the globe on most people's pound for pound, especially on my pound for pound. If he had beat anyway, he was going to be in that top 10, top 8. He was looking unstoppable at super middleweight. When he fought against Ahmad Ali, he was gaining ground. That was the most hyped. We had talked about Ahmad Ali. Because for 3 years, people were saying it was ducking Ahmad Ali. And then he gets to him when Ahmad Ali is still putting people to sleep, being the scariest thing in this division. And he beat him perfectly. When everybody had eyes on Ahmad Ali. When he beat Donaire is a bigger legend than T.O. and Shakur because of longevity and just the career he's had. They're just not more experienced than him. Like he just has he's got 40, almost 50 fights. He's going to be a Hall of Fame first ballot. And at that point in time in the Super Series, when people were having questions about him in his career, he went through and came back and looked like, oh my gosh, Donaire's got another gear in him. And when Inoue was rising in name as, okay, this monster cat is cleaning house, had a knockout of the year in that same Super Series, he goes through and fights Don't Dare when both of them got the eyes of the globe saying, okay, wait a minute, we got a young rising star versus an old line that still got some sharp teeth that seemingly he got a second wind. What's going to happen? And we got the fight of the year in 2022, 2023. It was the fight of the year. People still talk about that fight to this day. There was a lot of pomp and hype around both of them. And when Donaire got beat, in a way, blasted onto the scene, okay, this guy might be top 3 because of that win. Because of that win. And subsequently undisputed. So, like, yeah. He's faced off against names that are more respected, that got a deeper resume, that have a vastly more, at that point in time, experience and cachet with legends like Donaire that are far and away simply because of how long they've been around. Up here. In legacy and at that point in time, in talent, when they fought him. And so, like, yes, it was great. It is great. And he's faced off against greatness every way down the line. Most people that he fought, most of the names that Inoue beat would have been champions if he wasn't in the division. Marlon Tapaz is number 1 in the world at super bantamweight. If Inoue was not there, he probably would have still been champion right now. If Inoue didn't take the belt, I dare say he could have gone for unified if he wasn't in the way now. Akmadali would have had a belt now if Inoue wasn't there. There's an argument that we could have seen Akmadali get closer to undisputed, legit, if Inoue was not there. I'm so serious. Like, there's some depth there. Stephen Fulton may never have left 122, or at least would have stayed around there longer if he didn't lose to Inoue and had to take that year-long, I got to reevaluate some things. Because there was nobody looked like they were beating Stephen Fulton. At least perceived. So it's like, again, I strongly believe that Inoue is proven. At least from me looking at it. Not this isn't disrespecting anybody else. It's just like, I can bring up the stuff. The butter is quality. Let me see. Yeah, facts. Also, how you feel about the fights this weekend? Let me see. How you feel about the fights this weekend? January 31st. Tio and Shakur, Shushu Castro, Keyshawn and Ortiz. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of fights this weekend. My gosh. Keyshawn Davis, I really hope wins. We got Shushu Carrington. Look, he been talking a whole lot of smack now against Inoue himself. I need to see him win and challenge somebody, any of the other champions at 126. Because the way that he's talking a lot gets me a little bit scared that he's waiting on Inoue to come up. Kind of like with Nick Ball, waiting on Inoue to come up to 126 instead of trying to handle the other businesses of talent and get all the belts while he's up there. I'm not going to, and I see you. Shoot, you was scared, not convinced on him at all. Now, granted, I'm with it. I'm not as bought in on Shushu Carrington as many others, but I do know he can become a very formidable force of a champion if he moved quickly. I just don't like the fact that he keeps on getting, not just keeps on getting asked about Inoue, but keeps on talking about Inoue more than some of the other fighters at 126. Even though the issue was initially, give me a title opportunity, give me a title shot, Yet I've been hearing more about somebody coming up than the people that you got right in front of you. What can you do to Espinoza? What can you do to Angelo Lee? What can you do to Nick Ball? What can you do to the other 4 defining fighters when, granted, you, in some people's eyes, aren't even seen as the best of the best amongst the others at your same division? Lord knows that's the truth. That's not me trying to be hateful, spiteful. That's just the truth of the matter. But you ain't up there in that same way as what, talk about marketability. Shushu getting talked about a whole bunch. But from a standpoint of productivity, it has not matched the same crescendo, per se, of talent. It just hasn't. It just has not. And you should be working your way through this division instead of worrying about 122. Because in a way, ain't the only brother you got to go through and prove something with. If you even want a chance to fight anyway, brother, you got to go through and get a belt. Because in a way, ain't messing with you. Probably unless you got multiple belts. And if you got one belt, he going after the toughest guy out there. Which at this point in time is either Espinoza or Ball. And you second or third on the list. Because he most likely feels, yeah, I can beat you at any time. You ain't the biggest threat out there. You show nothing. With all due respect. Because you can fight. But trust me, I am not bought into it. I ain't bought into it. Ooh, I ain't bought into that at all. But let me see how the opponent, Carlos Castro, has fought Neary and Fulton. Even though he lost, he dropped both guys and made it competitive. So I guess he can low-key upset it. Yes. It's more than low-key. It's more than low-key. If he's got the power to put Fulton and Neary down, if he can put Neary down, and if he can put Fulton down, he can put Shushu to sleep. He can put him to sleep. Shushu Carrington better be very careful that he does not overlook this fight for the Inouye situation. Because just as quickly as we can see the likes of all this popping circumstance with Carrington be around in the air, quick as a hiccup, it can go away. It can go away like that. This ain't, he ain't, let me tell you, I'm telling you, I promise you, he ain't nothing to mess with. Carlos is not somebody to take lightly. You can't look beyond this fight. Not just because it's the biggest stage Shushu's ever been on. With the most eyes people are going to ever seen on Shushu. But the opponent can't turn this into his breakout day. He can't. He truly can't. Let me see. I knew Shushu wasn't that good after he robbed Segua. That fight, in fact, I think I watched that fight. That fight had me questioning a lot about Shushu Carrington and his true quality of fighter. All of that knowledge, all of that, I got this type of IQ, I can do this, that, and the third, I'm a multi-dimensional fighter, all that stuff, I got brought into question. The raw boxing ability of Shushu Carrington and whether or not I could really buy into it being that high as he was putting himself on. So at least that's just me. At least that's just me. Let me see. Hold on. Wait, I'm not saying Inouye isn't proven. I don't think you're hearing me. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Ryan, help me better. Help me. If I'm seeing your perspective wrong, I apologize. Put in the chat and explain as plainly as you can with when you see Inouye, what is it that we're missing about what you're saying in regards to his resume and his proven ability that to it so we can properly get your perspective and view. So I can make sure I can put you in the right conversation piece. So I can be able to say to properly what's the word? Properly interact with your opinions so we can make sure we don't misconstrue what you got going on. Absolutely. But while you're getting your stuff together, again, we can actually go through into the world of the championship rounds right now because we at the 2 hour mark, so ladies and gentlemen. It's time to work. It's time to shine. Yes, indeed. Come on. It's time for the championship rounds. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate you all coming through and sticking around with us on our show. We got a whole still bunch of stuff to cover. We got a whole host of opportunities to discuss with the other stuff in the boxing world. Well, we still gonna get your thoughts on T.O. We still gonna get your thoughts on Shakur and all that stuff. We still want to hear from you. And in the voting poll right now, we got 22% for Shakur Stevenson. 78% of people think Teofimo Lopez is going to win this fight. Wow. Y'all are really bold saying, dang, this is how y'all really feel. I'm actually a little bit shocked. I thought he was going to be a lot closer. Huh? You gotta be kidding me. Are we serious? Wow. Yeah, 22%. Only 22% got Shakur winning this. Almost 80% of people got T.O. winning this fight, at least in the chat alone. We would still want to see your votes, still want to see your thoughts and opinions. And please keep on liking the stream. But I'm surprised. I thought Shakur is a huge fake. He is. I think T.O.'s like down, or he is an underdog by plus 200, which means, for those of you who are new to the betting regime, if you're a plus 200 underdog, that means if you bet $100, you can win $200. If you bet 100, or I think that's how it goes. If you bet 100, you'll get 200. And Shakur, you would have to bet more money to get $100 back as a favorite in the fight. I believe that's how it goes. I think, if I got my betting stuff correctly. But regardless of which, it's like, this is low-key, not even low-key. This is actually pretty shocking. I'm very surprised. Because I thought it was going, I've been saying it's a 50-50 affair. Apparently, I'm wrong. Either my breakdown was incredible and it caused everybody to change their mind, or it's just I've drastically underestimated what the public feels. I've drastically underestimated what the public feels about Shakur Stevenson. But let me see how more people picked T.O. to win, and at least on the chat, with the people that we got in the chat now, apparently so. We got 10 people voting. It's 70-30, so we've had seven of the 10 people have T.O. winning this fight. I'm surprised. Low-key, I'm surprised. But let me keep on reading what you all got to say. Okay, so Ryan Graves, in reference to Inoue does not have a super hyped guy as an opponent. Maybe the fight itself was hyped due to Inoue. I wouldn't say Fulton, even though he beat Leo and Figueroa. Inoue's first will be Nakatani. Not saying he doesn't have great accolades or a great resume. Okay. All right. Okay. He just doesn't have a win of that magnitude that I would say for Nakatani, or that I would say for Nakatani and Shakur. Okay. All right. Okay. I see what you're saying. I get it. See, this is why we have conversations. This is why we like to talk, so we can make sure we can get it right. I understand what you're saying. This Shakur T.O. fight is a massive shift in a perception if Shakur wins, because of the opponent is also as big of a situation as him. In a way, nobody matched the stardom and cachet of Inoue, even though the talent was indeed there. And they were big fights. But from a standpoint of my notoriety and your notoriety are comparable with each other. I'm being talked about amongst the same breath as you from a hyped up perspective. This cat's a killer. This cat's a dog. This cat got this, that, and the third going for it as much as you do as well. This has been the first instance we've seen of that, where somebody else is being talked about in the same vein of, oh shoot, this cat is widely recognized as he's a killer or he's a dog. Inoue's faced a lot of great dogs before, but they weren't touted or held up in the same way on a global scale as we see with Nakatani now, going in what's going to be the biggest all-Japanese war we most likely will ever see, at least in our generation today. Different story. I get what you're saying. Okay, yep, absolutely. I get it now. Okay, that makes sense. Makes sense. I get it. I completely understand. And you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. Now we're on the same page now. I get what you're saying. You are right about that. You are. This is going to be from a global appeal of, in a ways, a monster, and this other cat is also a monster that everybody sees. Okay, this is, again, kaiju versus kaiju. I'm a big anime fan, so I love Godzilla and all that stuff. Kaiju versus kaiju. Gundam versus Gundam. Goat against goat. Two of some of the most destructive, imposing fighters we've seen finally stepping into the ring with each other in a fight that we have been waiting to see for upwards of, again, 3 years. Similar to Crawford and Spence. This is the first time anyone's been in that type of situation. I get what you're saying. Makes all the sense in the world. Now I'm on the same page. Let me see. I also heard recently from T.O.'s team that they brought up Stacey McKinley for this fight with Shakur. What you think? Because Stacey's from the Kronk Gym and has trained world-class names like Tyson and others. I'm not mad at him bringing McKinley on. I'm not. If it's going to be, it could be an advantage, because if you're going to need to break some windows on the very strong fortress that is Shakur Stevenson in that defense, you would want somebody with this type of, again, Kronk Gym pedigree. Look at what we saw. Look at what he turned Tyson Fury. Look at what that style helped turn Tyson Fury into. Going up against one of the greatest fighters you've ever seen in Usyk. All of a sudden, that layered identity added to what he was helped to make Fury hurt Usyk to the body. Apply that pressure on a very slick defensive fighter. And it added to the already established ability that Fury has latent in him. And with T.O., the same thing. And he's already a demonstrative puncher, a demonstrative offensive fighter. He's going to need to be able to bring some of that grit, because that same grit made Shakur be like, I don't want to fight like that again, going up against a Pater, even though he can, even though he has the capacity. That same grit made him say, yeah, this ain't where I want to be. Put T.O. with that Kronk-like mentality to really break some windows. This could be great. This could be really good. And I guarantee you, they know they're gonna need to be able to be aggressive in this fight. At some way, shape, or form, when you get the opportunities to be able to accentuate your game and to lay heavy leather, score and be offensive, you can't let those opportunities go to waste or be null and void. That Crunk Jim-esque mentality, identity that's going to be taught by Stacey, added to you and T.O. being who T.O. is. Oh, it can be a dangerous combination. It really can. I'm excited for it. I'm very excited for it, and we can see it could be pretty well. And Mr. T.O. is going to fight like T.O. regardless, so I don't know if Stacey's going to do much for him. It's not about doing much. It's about adding just a little. We don't want to see T.O. retool in whole totality. But T.O., especially with his fight, would be smart to elevate the best aspects of what he is, which is elevate those 50-50 exchange potentials. Elevate your offense when you're trying to, like with the Crunk Gym, we trying to hurt folks. We blood, sweat, and tears to some degree. We allow that. We can fight through and fight out of situations because we like that. And again, accentuate the better parts of T.O.'s offensive game, but don't change it. That's what I think Stacey's going to do. I don't know. We're going to find out. But if this is the case and he's bringing him in, I don't think it's going to change him entirely because T.O. will do what T.O. does. But giving those extra incentives to help hone in, refine, sharpen up the skills of that sword and spear that we know T.O. can bring when he's fighting and when he's able to, when he gets in his rhythm, when he's trying to, again, those offensive opportunities. I'm not mad at it. As long as it doesn't take T.O. out of his, as long as it doesn't take T.O. out of his mentality, out of his style, which it should. It should just be able to go and stick with him fully. And so, guys, it was a great time. We do. We really do. Absolutely. But real quick, let me go through it and get the rest of these news and tidbits going on as we are indeed in still the championship rounds. No question about it. Let me see. I hope he got better at cutting off the ring. Might be part of the reason why he brought in Stacey along, so he can be able to, he gonna need to be able to cut off the ring against Shakur. Because if he can't, boy, this fight's gone. But as we can see right here, also, if you didn't know, we got the live press conference going on. Honestly, hold on. I think we got a live press conference going on right now, actually. I completely forgot. Now, granted, I can't stream it. I can't have it on my thing because, copyright and whatnot. I'm not about to get sued. Be clear, I'm not going to get sued. I'm not about to get this video taken down, but I can have the capacity to come through and say, hey, this as a event. But they might be in this championship rounds situation. Might be able to talk about a little bit what they say as they're on stage right here, right now, for the world to witness and see. Absolutely, but we want to still see your thoughts and opinions. We got some other news that we gonna cover as well on our show. Like with, if I can go and find some of these clips right now, or rather not just clips, some of these hold on. Okay, yeah, I was just trying to make sure. I thought something was going awry. But yeah, we got more stuff to cover in the Water Box. Like with a little tidbit with Eddie Hearn. Let me see if I can play it right now for you all to listen. To see. We got a little bit of an update when it comes to him versus Jaron Boots Ennis going on right now. If you didn't know, potentially it looks like there's a date that might actually be closely agreed on for Boots versus Virgil Ortiz. I'll let Eddie Hearn tell you himself. Will it play? Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Here we go.
should always push for those kind of fights.
When can we expect, whoever it is, an announcement on when Boots' next fight will be? Whether it's Virgil or somebody
March
else?
28th is the date that we have planned. If it squeezes into April and it's the right fight for Boots, no problem at all. But, you know, Boots is ready. He's always ready. He's always in the gym. And he wants the biggest of challenges at 154 pounds.
Live only on the...
So as you can see, or as you heard, as you can see and hear, March 28th seems to be the date that at least we're going to get Boots coming back. Now, that could be inferring that potentially Virgil and they could come to a deal. Potentially, they might expect this whole litigation, finish out, gets out of his contract. Virgil can sign another promotion to make the deal with Boots and then fight on March 28th. By that time, everything's all hunky-dory. The world is their oyster to be able to enjoy a big-time fight in theory. But even still, regardless of whatever happens, Boots is aiming March 28th or early April. He coming back to the ring. Who it may be, we don't know. It could be January, February, March. Well, I wasn't going to say it could be Bakram, but I doubt that Bakram will have a turnaround fight that quickly. But it could be anybody amongst that top tier of boxing prowess. And if so, get excited because it could be something's coming. At minimum, Boots at least got a date that he's striving to be. Minimum. One side of the table at least got something going on. Other side, we'll find out. But let me see. I don't think they're going to fight this year. I don't think they're going to fight early this year. But I do think they're going to fight this year. I do. I really do. Really, I do. Really, yeah, I do. I really do believe they're going to fight this year. I strongly have an inkling. They will get it on. They will. It is an... I feel it's a foregone conclusion. Because the only thing holding Virgil back are the people around Virgil like Oscar De La Hoya. Once that goes out the window, yeah. Which I believe will happen this year. It's up. It's everything's gonna be up in smoke, and we're gonna see everything come crashing down to earth with deals being made and fights happening probably closer to September, November, where we get we good, we agreed, and now we in the works for real to make this fight happen. At least that's what I can see transpire on the day. But even with that said, we got some more stuff in the works, like with something with Teofimo Lopez talking about his, I believe it's a different clip. Is it a different clip? Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah, clip about something in regards to, if you didn't see, T.O. talking about Shakur's drive and will to win. I think this is the right clip. Kind of sparked an interest into a bigger conversation as to the methodical nature of Shakur and how deep this rabbit hole, or at least this production, not even production, this disciplined commitment to breaking down an opponent, how deep it really goes. Let me play the clip for you all right here.
It's insane.
Do you think you've kind of been on this collision course for a while now? He's kind of seen it coming for a little while. Have you not kind of seen it coming the same way he has?
Yeah, I haven't seen it the way he has. I think he wants this. I think he knows my position, but he wants this. But not the type of want that is a good want. It's the type of want that's like a man for power.
All right, brother, my last one. I heard you want to...
That's scary.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a fight game, right? It should be scary.
No, not the fight. The person. See, you always could figure out the strength of a person or a man, the strength of a man with power. What does he do with power? See, me, I let it go. I don't want power. When we fight, I'm gonna fuck you up. Excuse my language, but I'm gonna beat your ass. But I don't want power. I think he wants power.
And now, we're not one to break down outside stuff Stick to in the fight game. Absolutely, all this could be just here saying T.O. being T.O. However, to some degree, I see what he's inferring. He says, paraphrasing, what Shakur wants is power. He wants this fight bad. I mean, really wants it. But wants it in a way that is not good. It's scary, but scary for him. Because of, could be in Teal's mind, the drive behind why I want said power. What I think T.O. is saying, the Shakur Stevenson that we're seeing in this fight, we see the interviews. He's confident. He's very focused. He looks like, yeah, I'm ready to do whatever I need to do. It's mine for the taking. It's my moment. It's my time. Absolutely. Similar to what we see with Teofimo Lopez when he was saying, it's a takeover. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. Y'all are in my era and all that stuff. We've heard it before. Understandable. But it's different in this situation. And I thought this was the right clip of T.O. talking about that specific
It's insane.
Talking about the other aspect as to why that difference is what it is. Let me see if I can find it. Can I find it here? Can I find it here? Here it is. Here it is. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. That obsessive nature
I realize
is something that is, from what T.O.'s seeing, is all encompassing. It is obsessive to the point of manic. And you would say that that's something that's a drive to win, and you need that. You want that in a champion. You want that in a star. You want that in somebody who is dedicated to the sport, and you do. But the reason why T.O. says this is bad, this is his experience a couple of years ago with Shakur. When he said Shakur has been wanting this for a while and wanted it in a scary way, here's why. He's trying to make sure y'all can hear or y'all can see. Okay, yeah, y'all can see it. But here's why. Here's why he says that this is a scary, obsessive way that Shakur wants it in a bad way for the reason why he wants this fight.
Shakur was watching me this whole time, and I didn't even notice. Like that.
What do you mean?
I think Shakur knew I was really good. But he didn't say it. But now the time is here where he got no point but to now do it. And you know, when I beat Barboza, I ain't say nothing. You know what I mean? A wise man once said nothing, right? At all. And I got there and I went back to the hotel where we were at after the Barboza fight. I won. My whole fam, cousins, everybody was there waiting for me at the hotel lobby. Had my belts. And you know who was there? Mind you, we left while the fights were still going on. So, mind you know who was there? Shakur and I think that kid Moses or something like that. Some other people. I saw him in the corner just watching. Just stalking, praying. While everybody else was cheering me on and everything, and I had the belts and all that. And he's just standing there, just watching that. It's insane.
Do you think you've kind of been on this collision course for a while now? He's kind of seen it coming for a little while. Have you not kind of seen it coming the same way he has?
And then that led into the previous clip that I just played. But that's why he said what he said, where he wants it too bad. Now, there's a fine line for those of you who are not saying I'm an expert, just in my opinion. When it comes to the athletic world, there is a fine line between avid drive to succeed versus overreaching your means to strive for a goal. There's a fine line between drive and obsession. More than that, there's a fine line between even obsession and straight up You're trying too hard. You want it so bad that now you're pushing yourself beyond your means, and you're losing yourself to the moment at hand because you want something so bad. It's like a driver that wants to win a race. It's 5 laps to go. They get so overly anxious. I gotta make a move. They go and they end up crashing because they're pushing themselves too far without control. And they lose their ability to still push the limit while staying true to who they are. T.O. saying that he said all that stuff about him being so, you want this, but in a scary way for your own sake, where you want it too bad. But it went through after the win, the fight was still going on, and you went back to watch his celebration at the hotel. And you were just there, soaking in the moment. And I get it. We saw Stephon Diggs doing it when he lost in the AFC Championship, where he was just watching the confetti fall. We've seen it where people obsessively study film and they're like watching your every move. We see it. I get it. But I will say, this is the first time I've heard this type of action from Shakur Stevenson. Not saying I know anything about him personally. It's the first time I outwardly heard about this. This is the first instance where we've been seeing likes of Shakur seemingly have a real, like, more than Yoshino, more than Valdez, more than Herring, more than just I'm locked in, I'm training, I'm working with Crawford. This is Shakur almost like, I don't want to say the true nature, but this is the real Shakur Stevenson when it comes to success. Remember, he was egging to get that fight with Devin Haney. And that famous picture of him, while Devin Haney was walking away, Shakur was just standing there watching him, smiling and watching. Not just in the same vein of, we interacted, I'm a fight you. Nah, like he was like prey. Like a standing lion. I'm gonna get you one day. It's going to happen. And we loved it. We appreciate it. We are not devaluing, nor trying to say it's bad that he is driven. But that same level of drive with T.O. could be a tip off that, okay, all right, this guy wants me in his sights, in control, not just dissecting and working to see what my weaknesses are, but he wants inside the ring what he takes from the outside experiences when watching me. He wants to be able to know I'm in your head as if I'm in your life. I know you from the inside out. So when I get in the ring, that totality of control, nothing feels out of place with what I can do to you. I know everything about you in every way. You have nothing in the fight or in life that I got to worry about. The over-encompassing, I'm everywhere. I see all type of identity, type of persona. That's what Shakur desires. Shoot, that's how he fights. I see everything. Nope, I cut that off. Nope, I'll check it. I'll stick my tongue out and let you know you can't get away with that. You can't get away with that. I know everything about you. I'm in control. I have the power. You have no power in this. You got no power in this life when compared to me. Obsolete is what you are when I'm in the picture. And it's a dedication. It is a layered dedication. It's a layered process to get to that level that goes even beyond the ring. Again, this is what the quality of something, when people are champions, in some degree, there's some ways you got to go where you're like, yeah, man, I'm insane. I'm insane. I am even the most abundant of great champions. Shakur Robinson, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, Lennox Lewis, all of them had a level, Mike Tyson, a level of insanity when dealing with this sport and life itself that is, again, walks that tightrope, walks that line. Ali, I'm willing to die in and outside of this ring for what I believe and what I know I am. Mike Tyson, I'm insane because I'm fighting for my life, because I'm fighting from the life that almost took me out. I am a ball of rage and blood that if I'm not controlled, I will go off the rails. Hence why I fight as hard as I do. Joe Frazier, brother, what was by George Foreman's own account, was the scariest man he'd ever faced. He couldn't look him in the eye, and he beat him. And he was saying, this brother was, I didn't want him looking down because I didn't want him to see my knees shaking. I was scared of this man because he's insane. What he's willing to risk. He's the toughest fighter I had ever seen. Nobody should have been able to do what he did, and he's doing it. Joe Louis was the gentleman. What's his nickname? The gentleman champion. The bronze bomber. Not bronze bomber. The brown bomber. One of the most destructive punchers we've ever seen. One of the greatest champions in history. Most heavyweight title defenses ever. Some of the most in boxing history. If not the most in boxing history. I can't remember who has more. But fought for civil rights outside. Looked defiant society in the face and said, I'm greater than you. And inside that ring was not just a savant, one of the most well-balanced fighters in history. This cat would flip a switch and turn into something ludicrous. You couldn't see the gentleman when he was in the ring because he was an animal. Sugar Ray Robinson was dreaming of killing people in the ring and was scared that it was going to happen. And he fought anyway, and it happened. And he kept on fighting afterwards, knowing what he was capable of. We're dealing with people. I know I can kill somebody, and I feel empathy, but I got a job to do, and I've done it before. How crazy that is? He is, mind you, when he fought Jake LaMotta in the what was it, St. Valentine's Day Massacre? Was it the St. Valentine's Day? What, I forget what that fight. It was called a massacre. I know that fight with Jake LaMotta, the last fight that they had, when LaMotta didn't go down. Do you understand that that might have been after he had already killed somebody? And he said, I can't remember exactly when the deadline was, but either way, that fight, he knew, buddy, I could kill this brother if this fight keeps going. And said, bump it. I don't like violence, but I got to do what I got to do. I'm sorry. And but see, they have one of the greatest one-sided beatings we've ever seen in boxing history against an all-time legend. You're dealing with somebody or with people of this caliber, that this type of persona, that fine line, can make or break you. We've seen other champions with that same drive not be able to control it, and they go too far. Next thing you know, they fought themselves out of a win. Oh, they panicked. Oh, I'm desperate to a fault where I can't control myself. Now, next thing you know, my gosh, what happened? You got so honed in that you became essentially, you folded over on yourself. You let your want for the success drive you so far that you fought outside of yourself because the needed to win is so great. At least that's what T.O. sees. The balance might not be there for Shakur. Again, hypothetically, I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm saying that's what he thinks. I'm saying that's what he sees. I'm saying that's why he said, you were watching me when I was celebrating and there was still fights to go. You still were eyeing me up. Just in the background, like a villain in the shadows. I noticed, I ain't say nothing though. I see stuff just like you see stuff. I just chose to be, again, a wise man said nothing, in the words of Tia. I got power, but you don't see me obsessing in this same way because my approach is different. It's a battle of two ideologies to some degree. I know I'm good, but life is life, let it be. Shakur, I know I'm good, and I need you to know I'm good. I'm a bad brother to the point that you are obsolete. Obsessive versus even kill. At least in the mind of Tia. And would that be the downfall of Tia? We don't know, but my gosh. Like all of this. I'm not trying to make stuff up. These are indeed layers on layers of what makes fights like these so impactful. The outside the ring stuff is not everything, but it does indeed breed a identity that every fighter brings into this fight. It does. It does. And to some degree, it's been the downfall of those very great champions. And for some, it's been the elevating factor. It has. And so it's going to be very interesting to see what goes on as we go through. But let me see. We have a two-party here, huh? What do you do, Luke? Hey, yo, Berkshire, what's going on with you, Teddy? Thank you for tuning into the show. Appreciate you joining in on the live TL party. Look, we got right now. We've had let me look at the elevated poll. Right now, we're still seeing who people think is going to win this fight. It is Shakur at a whopping 33% to TL 67. Everybody strongly still believes that Shakur is going to lose this fight, and we thought it was a lot closer in sentiments. My goodness, people must really think, and understandably so, that T.O. might just be the straw that breaks the camel's back when it comes to the limits of Shakur at this point in time. He's still has an incredibly young career in front of him, and this type of talent might be the thing to beat him. My gosh, man, it's insane. Let me see. I'm retracting my KO, but you can hold me to it. I predicted it, and due to my confusion of T.O.'s inactivity, I still got Shakur. Hey, look, no problem there. If you got Shakur, no issue. If we want to go, and if you want to retract your statement that T.O. is going to get knocked out, okay, fine. You could still have a situation where T.O. gets hurt, depending on if this elevated grandeur of weight, and with the, again, Shakur, like he did against Zepeda, like he did against Haratunian, does indeed still want to sit down on the shots, sit down on those hooks, and try to land some real leather with some ferocity behind it, well, we're looking at a fight that, okay, we could see him get the respect of Teofimo Lopez. And if he wants to stifle the opportunity for those 50-50 exchanges to be so much of an on-the-table prospect for Tia, gaining his respect is going to be one of the biggest things, and landing shots that are meaningful, not just scoring shots, but landing shots that are cutting, landing shots that, they put some respect on the name. They gain some level of, okay, there's some sting behind it. Like we said, Tia can sting. You sting enough, you can put somebody down. If you sting somebody enough, you can put them down. You sting somebody enough, they gonna start saying, I need give me a breather a little bit. Hold on, let me rethink some avenues of success. That can happen. That can, especially if you've seen the way that Shakur looks, that can happen. That can That can absolutely happen and take place for us in the world of boxing. I guarantee you it's going to be a great thing to witness if, in fact, we see it. No question about it. Let me see. I still see it as a high possibility because it may be a do or die situation, and he may have to go all out and see a war unfolding. And if, understand this, if we see that happen, Shakur's gonna show exactly why the Zepeda fight wasn't a fluke. As to, okay, yeah, I can fight when it's time to dig deep. He can. But if that happens, he's lost control. The plan B is for, okay, I have no choice. And an all-out war can transpire. He's going to need that respect. Because if he does indeed have to go to war like that, if Shakur does not feel that you can hurt him, he is going to do all the stuff that y'all say don't do. Hands down, flicking his arms, tapping his side, tapping his foot and whatnot. He gonna do all that. Why? Because he's comfortable. He gonna do all that. Why? Because he is feeling not just confident, but the same way Shakur was like against Zepeda. You can't hurt me. So I can oblige without any concern. Is the same way Teal's going to do Shakur Stevenson. If you can't hurt me, and I feel that your speed is something I can react to, yeah, I'll oblige. I will force you into that war first and foremost by outboxing you, or at least boxing with you. And then I will take you under. Because you can't hurt me. And I know you can't, when it comes to a firefight, you can't beat me. And Teal's is mine. So we gonna see something. We absolutely gonna see something. Let me see. But Kambosos proves that Teal has problems with technically sound fighters, but Teal has the edge on southpaws. Kambosos was facing off against the worst version of Teal. He still beat him. If that Teal shows up, yeah, Teal's losing. But any other requisite Teofimo Lopez that came into the fight, he beats Kambosos 10 times out of 10, except for that version that showed up that night. I promise you. I promise you. Teal's gotten so much better than that fight. I'm not going to value Teo as a puncher or as a struggling fighter against sound technicians. Because he faced off against a sounder technician in Lomachenko. Shoot, if we want to be completely honest, we talk about hand speed. Kambosos got faster hands than Shakur Stevenson. Teal's just sharper and better timing and a better boxer. But Teal's dealt with people with faster hand speed than the likes of Shakur Stevenson. He has. If we want to talk about landing the shot to do it, and that technical soundness, Kambosos was hand punching speed was faster. Sandor Martin punching speed was faster. You can argue Jermaine Ortiz got faster hands than Shakur Stevenson. This is not a knock against Shakur Stevenson. We talked about this earlier in the breakdown. And if you want to listen to the breakdown, and go back to the top of the hour, we broke down the whole fight in great detail. I think it was great detail, but we broke it down. It's the timing. It's the timing and the perception of what you're gonna do that makes Shakur so hard to stop. And again, he's a big kid. But to Teo, Shakur Stevenson is manageable. Now, will that be the reality? We're gonna find out. I think Teo's gonna win by split decision. But we're going to find out. That's the thing. We are going to absolutely find out what's going to happen. I think the weight and the experience and ability to adjust to southpaws is a problem for Shakur Stevenson. Yeah. We have to be honest. Teal's faced off against better southpaws than Shakur in Lomachenko. Teo has been able to make the not even perceived, the reality of advantage that Southpaws bring to the table. For Shakur, it is not the same, because in this fight, Tio is adept at beating Southpaws. Tio is comfortable, at least fighting Southpaws. He has the capacity to deal with what the flipped mental gymnastics that you got to do going up against somebody with the opposite stance. He's able to deal with that, or at least he's comfortable with it, unlike other fighters, which was also a big advantage for the likes of Shakur Stevenson. With him being so technical, he's also fighting in the complete opposite stance. Makes it even more convoluted and conflicting. But with Tio, who's so malleable, it's not the same. That doesn't guarantee a win, but it does guarantee a little bit of quelling in the same elevated standings that we normally have with Shakur going up against the world of other competitors at 135, at 130, and at 140 right now. So it can be a problem. It can. I'm not saying it will, but it can. Let me see. What's going on? Yo, Truth, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you joined with us on today. And please, shameless plug, if you're enjoying the show, leave a like on the stream. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to the channel, and please keep on sharing the show. We want to see what you got to say. If you want to support the channel, Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats, super gifts, and all that stuff, stickers and whatnot. If you like what we got going on and you want to keep on investing into this show and help us to pay some bills, because again, we can't do this without you all. You all help make this show bigger, better, and grander, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. Help us invest and make this show so special. We can't do it without your support. So if you would, please, if you can give to the show, please do, and it means the world to me. Absolutely. I appreciate it nonetheless. But just sticking around is great enough, and I'm excited for you. Absolutely. Let me see. The only difference is Lomachenko is little and he was old, and I see two guys closer in age and size. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But understand, the difference is, even as a shorter fighter, we've seen Lomachenko handle distance at the same rate, if not better, than most other taller fighters, even Shakur included. He walked and was able to mitigate the boxing of Devin Haney and turn it into an inside war, because Devin Haney couldn't win the outside game. He's that good at every range, even as a smaller fighter. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Shakur, yeah, the height difference is completely different. The reach is different. At the same breath, it is, you have to look at this from the ability standpoint. Lomachenko was able to have as much of a wide array of versatility at different ranges than Teofimo Lopez. Shakur is not the same way. If Shakur loses ground in some regard, that's where stuff can get a little bit concerning, specifically on the outside. Specifically, that thing. Let me see. Franklin and Atama is going past 3 rounds. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it ain't. It's not. Jermaine Franklin versus Moses Atama. Franklin's gonna box, sure. Same thing that we saw against Anthony Joshua. Only difference is Anthony Joshua was still getting his mentality of being able to fight without his chin being a big concern, getting over that stopgap. Most of the time ain't gonna fight like that. If it was the AJ of old that fought Jermaine, he would have beat him. As in knocked him out, beat him. Not just decision beat him. Most of the time is fighting in some way the old Anthony Joshua way. I'm coming forward. I'm gonna knock you out. I'm faster than you. I'm able to take you. I know I should take you out. I'm not gonna waste time. I'm not concerned about any holdups because of what I can get caught with. I'm gonna just go do the business. It's not going past 3. It's not. I don't see it's going past 3. Not me. Not me at all. Let me see. Considering how long it took Anthony Joshua, if he lost to him before 6 rounds, considering how long it took AJ, if he lost to him before 6 rounds, it's a statement. If he lost, hold on. Considering how long it took AJ, if he lost him before 6 rounds, it's a statement. I think if Moses beats, if Jermaine loses to Moses in 6 rounds, I think that's what you're saying. It's a statement. Okay, yeah, I had to make sure. Yeah, knocks him out in 6, it's a statement for how long it took AJ to get Jermaine. Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And it should be. It should be a statement because what AJ should have done is what Moses is going to do. And if Moses can do what AJ should have done, the heavyweight division better be concerned. Not because Franklin is a great heavyweight. I mean, he's an average heavyweight. But I'm telling you right now, any sort of knockout by AJ would be, or by Moses, would be a more statement performance than AJ. Because remember, I can't remember how long it took AJ. I think AJ went to decision. AJ did not knock out Jermaine Franklin. I believe, I'll fact check, but I believe it went to decision. Let me. Yeah, Anthony Joshua won by. Anthony Joshua didn't knock him out. He didn't even knock him down. He just simply boxed, kept Jermaine at bay, kept on using that jab, and beat him. He beat him. He did beat him. Fundamental, yes, was having his guard up, but we criticized that performance because he was too timid. He was too trying to. He didn't want to use his power because he didn't want to risk anything. That's what he said. We could see it. He went the distance. Jermaine Franklin, if it was the old Anthony Joshua, he would have knocked him out in 3 rounds. Because this type of fighter in Moses Talma is not having that stopgap of mental blockage, he should knock him out in 3 rounds. But any knockout, would be a better statement than what we saw against Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin. It would. I don't know. TO by decision. I'm with you. I got TO by unanimous decision. I really do. I really do have TO by unanimous decision. Let me see. If Charles beat FA, then would you like to see him versus the Talma? Sure. Granted, Charles Martin is not a great heavyweight. FA Ajagba should be a better fighter than Charles Martin. I got FA winning the fight. I'm not high on Charles Martin at all. Charles Martin's at the same level as Jared Anderson. He lost to Jared Anderson. He's the worst fighter than Jared Anderson, and he could have beat him. He could, if he had started throwing that straight left even more, he could have knocked out Jared Anderson before Martin McCauley did. But he ain't great. Yes, he's a former champion. We respect it, but he's not a great fighter. FA Ajagba should beat Charles Martin. Both of them would lose to Moses Talma. I would not want to see Charles Martin versus the Talma, strictly because if we are going to stay with the trajectory of Moses Talma quickly becoming a champion level type of fighter, which he's on pace to be, Charles Martin does not improve that sentiment. I'd be more interested in a fight with Richard Torres Jr. than I would with Moses Talma versus Charles Martin. FA Ajagba versus Talma, I'd be okay with. Shoot. Even though it's a big step up in competition, Big Bang Jang versus Talma, I'd be more on pace with. Joe Joyce versus Talma, I'd be more on pace if we're going to keep with the trajectory. But Charles Martin doesn't really do anything for me. Looking at that fight specifically, it's not. Yeah, it's not even. It's not worth the time. For me, it ain't worth the time. He's a tall fighter, sure. Most of the time versus a taller, more, useful, lanky fighter. Okay, maybe it could be something, but beyond that, it's not really a big, for me, it's not really a big test. Anything to do with the KO is definitely a statement. Yep, anything that it ends in the KO would be a good statement for Moses Talma. He held back versus Jared. He didn't want to take the young gun down. I would say this: if he could have beaten Jared Anderson, he would have beaten Jared Anderson. I am so confident. If he could have beaten Jared Anderson, he would have beaten Jared Anderson. Because he's in the fight game as much as him. And if he had beaten Anderson, that could have set him up for a fight, dare I say, with McCauley on that fight with Majamal versus Terrence Crawford. It could have. Charles Martin could have been on pace to, okay, wait a minute, the former champ might just have something left in the tank since his fight with Anthony Joshua, and he hasn't done anything since. Maybe he's turned over a new leaf. And as much as a young guy as he is, I'm going to tell you this, those straight lefts that he was landing when he fought against Jared Anderson in the later stages of rounds 9 and 10, or 8, 9, and 10, those didn't look like he was holding back. It didn't. To some degree, it looked like he was attempting to put him to sleep. It was just too little too late. But I even talked about that fight on this show. A couple years ago when it happened. I talked about that fight on this very show. And I said that fight was the biggest exposure. Jared Anderson is not good. I said that from that fight on. Anderson's going to get exposed. He pulls back too much on his shots. A lot of show defense, not really concrete defense. His offense, it can be decent, but doesn't really have the punching power that you would want to see. He's a fleet-footed fighter that doesn't really have the stability of a well-rounded game to make it far. And if Charles Martin, who should have been an easy KO, if Jared Anderson was really that good, or a complete one-sided affair, if that was the case, it would have happened. And we all would have been saying, yeah, this brother's the real deal. The fact that I didn't say that wasn't because I was being uber critical. It's because this brother didn't show me anything. And if Charles Martin had figured out that left straight was the biggest demonstrative factor, Jared Anderson would have gotten knocked out. I guarantee he would have gotten knocked out. Just like I'll say, if he fights anybody right now, he's getting knocked out. Anybody that's decent, has a decent straight punch in any regard, he's knocking him out. And they're knocking Anderson out. Because I don't see Anderson's good. I do not see, no disrespect. He has not improved. He has not improved as the fighter that needs to be when coming and looking at the legacy. Or not even legacy, coming and looking at the vaunted, high profile, and talked about nature that we wanted him to be. We don't see it. We don't see it. It's a shame. But to a degree, he brought it on himself. And also, to be clear, I'm sorry, we watching the if you didn't know, the press conference for Tio versus Shakur, it's starting with Tio and Shakur now officially walking on stage. Tio taking his sweet time. And I'm telling you this, sadly, we're at the end of the show. But we're going to, I need to give my voice a rest so we can make sure we can be ready for tomorrow. We're going to be talking about this press conference as well as more involving the fight. And a lot of other news like with Tyson Fury versus Ahmed Daleev, like with a little more stuff with Keyshawn Davis. We're going to talk about that more so tomorrow. We got to give me some time to reprieve, recoup, and recover so that tomorrow we can bring you all that fervor and fire going into the championship rounds for the all-day affair that will be Friday afternoon and 1 day away from Shakur versus Tio and New York City in Madison Square Garden. I can't wait for it. I can't wait to be a part of it with you all. And I appreciate you all tuning into the show. But we're going to do one last thing of a last call. Any other topics of discussion that you would like to discuss, we can talk about it right here, right now for the public to see. We can talk about Giannis getting ready to be traded by the Bucks. If you didn't know, in the NBA, Giannis and the Bucks are looking for a trade to get Giannis out of Milwaukee because it looks like they're finally blowing it up and moving on. My goodness, who's going to be in the sweepstakes for that? Luka got injured on the Lakers. Where's that going to see for, I believe he got injured on the Lakers against Cleveland. Where's that going to be for LeBron and the rest of the Lakers squad, who's still pretty decently high in the Western Conference, but dwindling sentiments of how this team's going to be looking, especially with some of the lackluster play from DeAndre Ayton and some of the bench role players. Yeah, it ain't that great. The moves are going to be made. They got to February 5th, and the trade deadline is among us. And there's some teams that might be looking with that Giannis trade and with the Lakers looking to let go of some assets. We could see some moves transpiring around the world of the NBA, and we covered previously with a bunch of different other moves that we can see around the league with interest abounding with a lot of other pieces and a lot of other players and teams looking to make shifts and moves like with DeMar DeRozan, like with Zach LaVine, like it even leaving with the Wizards, hypothetically having some more moves beyond just Trae Young. We can see Trae Young get traded potentially to another squad before the deadline and before the All-Star break. All that's going to be talked about and so much more throughout the week and throughout the months to come. So we want to see what you all got to say. But if anybody got anything to say about that, we can discuss it, about boxing, about Tio, about Shakur, about Tyson Fury, whatever you want to talk about. Last call. Anything y'all want to say, anything more in regards to the show, anything more in regards to this whole dynamic of the fight. If not, we're going to pack this show up, send it home, and get ready for tomorrow afternoon and Friday. Same time, same place, same channel, around 12 o'clock. Get ready for a great endeavor. I can't wait to see it with you all. But with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, John Lewis. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show with you on today. Hopefully you enjoyed our show. Hopefully you had a great time and a great event. If you would like to support the channel, yet again, we have Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description. While we don't got sponsors yet, you all help contribute to the show, and this show isn't possible without you making it grandiose and making it oh so worthwhile. Your patronage, your support, you watching and listening means the world to me. Leave a like on the video before you get on out of here. Thank you to everybody who came through and supported this channel and chatted and responded. Y'all were incredible. Be sure to leave a like on the video. Comment your thoughts and opinions of what you liked or didn't like about the show. Subscribe and join the empire. Be a part of the hottest show on the globe and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts on Apple or Spotify. And please be sure to share the show with everybody you can and let people know this is the hottest place to be. Absolutely. The pound for pound top chatters for this show are as follow. Number 5 was I Need a Bird. Number 4 was I Just Want the Truth. Number 3 was Teddy Berkshot. Number 2 was Allo Jay-Z. And number 1 was Ryan Graves taking the top spot for the pound for pound best chatter on this show per the YouTube rankings. Can he retain that spot going into Friday afternoon? We're going to find out, but be here for all the talk and action. Championship rounds are coming on Friday. We can't wait to see it with you all. Please keep on supporting the show. Keep on sharing the show. And hey, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully I made your day a little bit brighter, a little bit better, and a little bit more joyous on the occasion. I've been Jean McQuetch. You all have been absolutely wonderful. Peace and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. We gonna see you all on Friday. Be safe. Be blessed. Come back. Peace and love. We done with this show. We out.